Up and down and up again. Snakes and ladders or up the game. Up the stakes. That's your face. Be proud of him or what's the point? Decide the case. Ask the question, hear the voice. Make the choice and live with it. Quitting, never quitting, never quitting. That's what living is. Living for the giving whilst forgiving is a given gift. Sentiment on a missing list of many kids who seek the height of guiding light in a focused gaze of father's eyes on mother's side. Let's raise the cup to a perfect dream. Worth it, some may swerve it. Call it a cursed scheme, a bad result of a sleepless night. Now we lay him down to sleep. Be the sheep and see the wolf. Be the wolf and count the sheep. Dark or light and in between. See it or be seen as it. Be it or believe in it. Make a choice and be equipped for the choice you made. Now deal with it. What's the it? Make it clear. Have no fear in a pressure-centered atmosphere. Current flows that many failed to go with, and so live the lies of someone under the watchful eyes of someone else. It's up and down and up again. It's half full with a half space. Yin yang is a whole blatant jewel state. Whose space? Our space. Present tense is now, mate. When, mate, you missed it. You're now late. That's a new fare to the next train in a vex state. That's checkmate.
What, fam?
Checkmate to your mind state. Can't think cause you're irate. That's a travel change to the sky plane. Jet stream to a time change. Be so cool, it's an ice age. Leave a slow poke in the left lane with a stress vein. Sad shame. Finish line when he gets there. Pied face. A lone man in last place.
Last place. Yeah. Stay side. Aight, come on. Whether you ready or not.
Hello and welcome everybody to the EU 1v1 Super Summer Slayem. And this is going to be a good one today. I believe we got a lot of good EU players coming up in the mix. Hi, my name is Yuga Frone, and I am here with my buddy Steven Ader. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. May or may not have woken up a little late according to my alarm, but you know, we made it on time, so we're good. Been a while since I've casted. I'm excited to get back into the casting scene and cast myself an EU tournament.
I mean, it's always a good time, and EU tournaments for us, it's waking up a little earlier for you than for me because of the time zone difference. But at the same time, it's not too bad. We've had a little bit of time to wake up, so it's all right. We got a lot of good games though coming up in just a second here. I don't know who we have first, but we got a lot of people who you guys might recognize. Sort of Machette, Addy, Simple Zero, Machette, Blue, Fozy, Agzo, Cake Heissen, Tito, and a few others as well, at least in the top bracket. So in the bottom bracket, there's a lot more. And we'll see more as we progress through, and get down into that lower side later on. I mean, I can already see the Ninja down there in the bottom, and then also Multimum, and I think Dobrain as well is down there. But we'll see later on. That's not for you guys to worry about yet.
But we do. It's important to note that after all those names that you said, we got most of EU's best here. A few names are missing, but not many, honestly. Which is, that means that the matches that we're gonna have are gonna be a good spectacle. We're not gonna have any. I don't expect any crushing defeats.
No flawless
stomps.
victories, unfortunately, for everyone who was looking out for one of those and has been waiting ever since the beginning of time for a flawless victory. I don't think we're going to see one, but we will see some pretty good games. And if you like pretty good games, then we'll have a plethora of pretty good games.
Yeah, anyway. Of course, pretty good games to make way for the best of the best games, which is going to be tomorrow in top 8. But I'm getting
I thought you were going to say
myself.
Next weekend with the NA, but I mean, I thought you were throwing that kind of shade.
I can't alienate the EU viewership yet. That comes at the end of the stream when they already hate me.
Well, either way, hopefully we'll have a game here in just a moment for you guys.
I've seen Machette in the lobby, so perhaps we are going to see some Machette, who I know he's been to the EU lands, which admittedly I haven't done my job in watching the EU lands as closely as I have the NA lands, mostly because I'm at most of the NA lands. But I know that he hasn't been to an NA land, and at the EU lands, I'm pretty sure he's done, pretty well.
Well, I mean, I know for you, it's definitely a difference because when you go to the NA lands, you're watching other people to, kind of get some notes for when you have to go up against them, if you have to go up against them. So it's definitely a different scenario. Watching the EU lands, I mean, you can definitely get some notes for people if they do come over, but usually they announce when they're coming over, so you know who's going to be playing in the NA lands if they're an EU player. And then at the same time, you don't really have to worry about playing against EU people on LAN until at the very latest BCX, because that's when most of the people come out anyway. So, I mean, you don't really have to as a player. So I get that.
We definitely got some players in the bracket today who have performed well at LAN tournaments in North America. I mean, you got Blue in there. I know he placed decently well at CEO. You have Cake, who is looking strong in the winners bracket right now, and just recently teamed up with Lil Cap for Low Tier City, and they made a crazy run to third place or something. I feel like Cake's kind of been out of the public eye for a little bit. He's always been there, but he hasn't been winning the big tournament, at least not in 1v1. So I'm excited to see if he can come out, make some splashes, especially if anyone can kind of take the game to Blue. And Addy's in there as well, because Addy actually, I think, beat Remy at CEO, which admittedly, I was kind of surprised about that because Addy hasn't been performing as well in 1v1s overall this year, but he might be having a resurgence lately. So it's kind of hard to tell what's going to happen with the bracket, but it seems like our first match is going to end up being a Machette versus Vortex, who Vortex is hovering Cannon, Rayman right now. Hard to tell what he's going to play because I don't know him. I feel like I've heard his name, but I'm not certain on what he actually plays.
I want to say he actually does play Sidra, who he has selected right now. I want to say we've seen him in the past as well, but only pretty much in the top 32, top 16 at the most. So we'll probably see his cannon here from the Sidra side. And that's, I think, what tends to be one of the faster cannons, right? So going up against Zol, which is, harder hitting, a little slower, a little on the slower side, it's going to be a very interesting matchup. But what are you thinking about the matchup right now?
Well, I'm actually surprised to see Machette playing Zol, seeing as historically I know him as a Scythe/Mordex player, but obviously since the last time I saw him, a fair amount of nerfs have hit the Mordex, so I perfectly understand if he's wanting to make the switch over to Cannon. It seems like EU is favoring Cannon a lot. I've also seen some NA players swapping over to it. I think that these are the two best Cannon legends. Well, no, Lin Fei exists. Well, with guitars how they are right now, Lin Fei is up there. But I think pre-patch, I think you could actually make an argument for these two being the best Cannon legends because Zol just deals so much damage every time he hits you. And I'm actually interested to see how Machette is going to use these new axe changes, because a lot of axe players have been saying that they like how the weapon functions with the new changes. They like the new ground pound. They like how the dare connects into follow-ups. So I wonder if we're going to see any new combos coming out from Machette using that new dare.
It might just be still more of the same right now because the patch is still pretty fresh. If there's any new stuff that might not be discovered yet or practiced enough to use it reliably in a tournament, so we'll see. But Machette right now taking the cannon, getting a lot of damage into Vortex, trying to even up the damage from the initial success that Vortex had with the sword, and now a little bit of that versatility from the sword is going to go a long way as long as he can hold on to it, which he can't. So that's going to be a KO turnaround from what I was saying. But yeah, Machette taking that first stock of the tournament, of the day, of the game, of the match, of everything right now. So that's the way to kick it off.
I wasn't too sure about Machette's cannon, but I mean, he's rocking the Skyforge cannon, so clearly, both players actually are rocking the Skyforge cannon, so both players have spent some of their hard-earned glory on getting themselves the Skyforge weapon for this weapon at the very least, so I'm sure they're both comfortable in it. Vortex ending up finding the D-Light into Nair to find himself a kill. Machette got a large amount of damage onto Vortex, about halfway to his death, especially when we're talking Zol, who has such high force. And I've been liking what I've been seeing from Machette's cannon, but I'm interested to see what he can do with this axe now. Hitting the sidelight. Ooh! Sidelight Nair, but then the recovery hit the bad hitbox. If it hit the sweet spot on that one, it definitely would have KO'd Vortex, but he only needs 1 or 2 more hits.
He's got cannon, so he's got the damage and the force to do just that, but he has to find the hit to begin with, and Machette is not going to make it easy, of course. Ooh. And the cannon is just going to make it even harder once he has him off stage. That's a second KO, of course. Machette still in his second stock, but looking really good right now. Still warming up, I guess. It's still the beginning of the day, and this is about where a lot of players. Yep, this is where a lot of players start facing off against not DQ picks in the pools.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said for the fact that Zol is a very one-hit character. Even discounting his force, just considering the fact that he has cannon and axe, those are two of the most damage-punishing weapons in the game. But as I say that, Vortex is starting to get some combos of his own started, building up the damage. The downlight, dare, end light, I believe that's a one-frame link, so it's virtually true if your opponent isn't ready to dodge it online. Ooh, Machette has the axe. He was looking to wall Vortex out, but Vortex smartly finding his way back out of the stage with a dash. Vortex now hitting the neutral light. Ooh, hitting the downline Nair. This is a one-hit game at this point. Either player could get KO'd soon. Machette grabbing himself the cannon and landing the Sair. Machette actually killing twice with cannon Sair, which I feel like is pretty unorthodox, at least compared to what I've seen from cannon. It's just a pretty committal option. And now Machette is hovering my favorite skin from this wave of Heatwave, actually. This skin is so amazing.
Except What is the what's in the containers? What's in the condiment containers right now? It's mayonnaise and what?
And special sauce.
This is the special sauce.
This is the Isaiah only sauce. Only he knows what it consists of. He whips it out at every barbecue. The community loves him for it.
Yeah, you should really go to the barbecues. They're real good. They're real nasty, boys.
I mean, he's rocking the spatula in the back. I'd actually love to see if that came out as like, wait a second, is there a spatula hammer skin yet?
I don't think so.
I don't want to say it too loud because I don't want to steal any ideas.
I feel like if spatula is going to be in the game, it's going to be a sword or something.
I feel like spatula needs to exist now that I post it. Ooh, that cannon is so weird, actually. That cannon skin, it's like open at the top. I like it, though.
What is that skin? I can't even tell what it is.
I literally...
Wait, is that a grill? Oh, that is amazing. I love that. I love that
Oh my
so
god,
much.
wait, Vortex is actually dead. He's actually dead with Machette. Oh, Machette couldn't close it out. He actually, he threw the weapon and it missed, and because of that, he wasn't in position for a cannon there, which could have potentially ended that stock. Opening up with a lot of quick damage, though. Now he's got the guns. A downlight could end the stock, or recovery could end the stock. I mean downlight because it would lead into recovery. Even a side air, just in a little more damage, would probably end Vortex's stock. But Machette doesn't seem like he completely knows how to close out the stock with guns. I've never seen Machette as a gun player, so maybe there's a little bit of unfamiliarity with the kill options. He swaps back to the cannon. I think that's a wise choice.
Maybe he just likes the SIGs. Who knows? But, I mean, if he doesn't know how to use the flavor blasters, he's going to have to go back to the other character's ult.
Ooh, that's probably going to kill. Vortex, I think, has enough options, but all Machette needed to do was to use one move to catch out Vortex's recovery, and he was done. Unless Vortex dodged absolutely perfectly, and there was a little bit of a mistake from Machette, then he wasn't going to make that back. Vortex only needs 1 or 2 good hits to equalize this. Oh, but Machette's pulling out the combo that is only true because of the buff that just happened to guns. That combo is really hard to do. Take it from me because I was in the training room trying to practice it so that I could say that I could do it. But it is extremely difficult to do. You actually don't even jump into the side air. You have to do a chase dodge into instantly side airing in order to make that combo true. But it gets so much damage for you if you're able to do it. And now Machette is just building up so much with this cannon.
Oh, that was actually really close with the ground pound. I feel like if he held it for like maybe a few frames less, it probably would have hit. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe the positioning wasn't quite right. But it looked like it would have been really close. Either way, Machette getting really close on the KO right now with the side air. Look for the side air on the blasters. And just trying to keep the spacing. There's the side air as well, finding the KO off on the right side, and that's going to be the next KO for him. He's only got one more stock left to go to take the W against Vortex right now. So he's got it going on right now. And there it is.
That was the full conversion. Before he didn't do the Nair, and as you're seeing right now, the biggest buff that guns received this patch is that Nair is now true after neutral light. And I know that any top player who has ever played guns or ever even dabbled in the weapon knows the input for N-Light Nair, because it was a thing before, it just wasn't a true combo. So Machette is just nailing these and building up damage so fast. Vortex went for kind of a desperation down signature, because if that landed it would kill, but he didn't land it. Now Machette just needs one hit to finish him off. The recovery is not going to do it. I'm a liar.
Another one.
Not even another one would kill, because
all right, one more.
Yeah, actually one more now. Okay, one
more.
One more.
Another one.
Please don't land a neutral light and make me another liar, Machette. He's only landing moves that aren't killing. There
we
is. The
go.
side air is gonna do it. Pulling out the neutral signature on the freeze frame. Oh my lord, Machette dealt 704 damage. That is like the amount of damage that you want to deal if you're popping off in 2v2. In a 1v1, that much damage is actually unheard of. Probably because of the ending sequence there.
That's literally 10 defense Syndra.
I have no clue how he actually dealt that much damage.
Cannon and blasters and not finding KOs apparently when there's only one more hit left.
I love to see the Isaiah actually, because I wasn't even thinking. I saw the gun buffs and I was like, okay, I think Lucian's going to be really good. I think Cassidy's going to be really good. I think Diana is going to be a great pick for players who already know how to play her, like Boomy, but never once did it cross my mind about Isaiah being good for some reason, just because he was so underplayed before this patch. But especially with the spot that Cannon is in right now, I think Isaiah is actually a super strong pick.
I mean, I honestly think he's going to be a real up-and-comer, a real underutilized pick coming up until people really start figuring out, oh, well, now... I think someone was talking somewhere about... I don't know where I don't remember where I saw this, but someone was talking about how Isaiah might have like some kind of true combo into one of his like neutral sigs now. I think like Blaster's neutral sig.
Yeah,
out of something.
because I know Enlight into neutral sig was actually like a relatively tight combo before, so I don't, or a relatively tight string rather. I don't know if they actually made it true, and if so, that's kind of insane for Isaiah. And I think a lot more players are probably going to look to pick him up, and we might even see a lot more players playing him in this tourney. I don't know if I'm looking to see if the Ninja's in this bracket. I don't see him now.
He is.
He's in the lower
side.
I wonder if he's playing any Isaiah, because I know that he is a Cannon fanatic himself, and has been for a very long time. Historically played a lot of Sidra and done pretty well.
He's been playing Lin Fei.
Right. Oh, man.
He's actually been reporting his characters. I'm actually happy.
All the Cannon legends are so good right now. I expect to see a lot of them. I will say, though, we have Addy Mystic coming up, and he was hovering the Thor with the other new Heatwave skin that also looks great. I don't expect to see Addy play anything other than Thor, considering he's been playing Thor for a while now, and it's been working great for him. It worked great for him at CEO.
Petra.
Oh, actually, Petra. That makes sense.
What?
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Addy Mystic was always a Val player. He was always playing Gauntlets. And the changes now and how good the signatures are on Petra, especially on the orb side of things, I think it's a no-brain pick. I mean, we saw a lot of that at Latier City as well. So she's been the character I've been playing the most too recently. So I've really been enjoying her. Yeah,
that skin is sick. We saw Boomy play Petra to great effect at LTC, getting second place. Addy, as you said, has historically played a lot of Val, and he was known for his gauntlets. He was known as being like the original EU gauntlets before anyone else. But it just wasn't working out for him, so he made the switch over to Thor, which also I think worked better as a 2v2 pick for him. So he actually has tons of experience on both of these weapons, and we're already starting as 2 ground pounds into a Sarah into a ground pound.
That is dead. Ooh.
Nice job by Isha to recover. The sideline of the Sarah, though, he's getting put off stage again. Addy, I like going for that ground pound. No fear, just committing to it, seeing if he can find Isha. A nice sideline into side air. I think sideline side air on orb is one of the strongest true combos in the game, honestly. It's just so consistent, deals so much damage, and has a lot of force for early KOs as well. Addy actually favoring these ground pounds more on the edge rather than down airs, which you usually see a lot of orb players look for straight down airs because it's less punishable. But Ishet finding the Ulgrim Lance side signature. I wonder if we're going to see the chainsaw come out at all.
Oh, there it is. Not the chainsaw.
Not the chainsaw.
The uppercut, the KO. That's what I'm referring to, not the chainsaw. Petra doesn't have a chainsaw. If she did, that'd be kind of scary.
Petra has
kind of crazy.
Petra has a Spirit Bomb, a Hadouken, and a Shoryuken. She's going to use the Shoryuken again to find another hit on Ishit. And Ishit just spawned in, it seems, but he's already into the orange. Another one! That Sig is so good. I remember seeing Boomy use it a lot, but I thought that was more of a Boomy thing than a Petra thing, and that is another neutral signature. Ishad just has no clue how to counter this character right now.
My favorite thing to do with that signature is to get the sidelight and see what they're gonna do. And if they keep dodging up, which a lot of people do, they like to jump or they like to dodge up. I'll just do the gravity cancel neutral sig with the Shoryuken and just pop them up.
I mean, honestly, if you're Addy and Ishid has no clue how to counter what you're doing right now, 100% I'd keep doing it. And Ishid, I feel like Ishid kind of gave up on that one. He threw out the raw gravity cancel neutral sig, which, to be fair, if it hit, probably would have KO'd Addy. But Addy just waiting it out, hitting the nice gauntlets there to close out the match. And that was a very different match from the match that we saw before this. A lot less close. Addy's Petra is looking really spicy. He's already level 13 on Petra, and she only came out a little while ago. I know there was some discussion on Twitter about whether or not Petra should have been legal for low-tier city, since people maybe didn't have enough experience against the character, maybe didn't know how her signatures work.
Well,
but I think at this
patch
point,
cycles, right?
yeah, I think at this point there has been ample time, and there is no excuse for not knowing what Petra's signatures are. So I'm going to chalk that one up to Addy just being really good at using Petra's neutral signature, and I want to see him go Brawlhaven. Miami works too. I was going to say Brawlhaven because of low ceiling. His N6 could kill even earlier. But
honestly, I just want to see a spirit. I just want to see a spirit bomb kill.
It's so slow, but also it covers a good hitbox if you do it right with the dash momentum. I think the only reasonable time that you could really see it used is if the player builds up dash momentum first and uses that to carry themselves over the edge, because it actually goes straight down.
Yeah, I don't even think you really do need dash momentum though. You just need any kind of momentum, because if you're moving forward at all, you can approach the corner slowly, and then maybe get a little mind game in there on wait, will it actually hit the corner or will it actually go down the wall? I can't even tell at this point.
Oh, is that a baseball?
Yeah, it's baseball.
That's awesome, actually.
It's kind of like a Sandlot baseball where it's kind of torn a little bit.
Yeah, people have been talking a long time for baseball skins with a bat, and baseball, and a glove, whether that be for Val or whoever. I'm glad they finally incorporated the baseball into the game. At long last, the community's cries have been answered. Ishit hitting the Lance Dare, hitting Addy off the stage. Ooh, Orb Dare, one more. Yeah, every time. I play a lot of Orb myself, and you reverse that dare every time because everyone just has to go back to the ledge. They have no other choice, and worst case scenario, he usually bounces off the wall. But there's the chainsaw. He has done it. Ishit, you are my hero for using the chainsaw.
He got the kill with it, too. It's even better. He's not just throwing it out there. He actually got the kill with it. That's always exciting.
Ooh, that was nice. He did a Lance downlight and then read that Addy was going to dodge up and instantly jump stared. I like that gravity cancel side light. I have always been a big proponent of using gravity cancel side light on Lance because I actually think it's an underrated option and an underrated wake up. That did Ishit some extra damage there. Couldn't quite find the landing for Ishit though. And Addy just punishing him so strongly with Orb. Or ground pound is up there with bow ground pound in terms of strength.
It hits extremely hard, and the fact that it's a disjointed hitbox at the same time makes it very safe against a lot of anti-edge guard moves as well. Ooh, very nice charge up side signature from Ishit off stage, finding that KO into Addy Mestic, evening up the stocks a little bit. I mean, the last stock kind of looked as when Ishit did take the fall, get KO'd. He looked like he was still having a lot of issues dealing with Addy Mestic. But right there, finding that read, getting the edge guard situation, and finishing off the stock almost immediately. Maybe he's not down for the count yet.
I like that Ishit is sticking to the Lance here. I feel like the axe hasn't been working for him too well in these two games. I feel like Lance has been netting him most of his damage and his kills. But right now, Addy is just responding so strong with his Orb neutral game, throwing out the Hadoken projectile, one of the only projectile signatures in the game, if not the only, I think.
Well, there's the cannonballs.
Right, there is the cannonballs. There's the Sidra cannonball as well.
Yeah.
Ooh, Addy. I was going to say, is he going to throw out an N-Sig, but he just closes it out with the other vertical gauntlet option with the gauntlet recovery. And a overall clean set from Addy. Second game, definitely a lot closer for Ishit than the first. But it never really felt like Addy was playing from a disadvantage. It always felt like Ishit was having to claw his way back into the match. And I think the fact that he never really had that momentum to work off of hurt him a lot, especially when you're playing weapons like Axe and Lance, where you have to get something started. And I feel like it almost benefits you a lot if your opponent is a little more tilted or playing more aggressively than they would normally. I feel like that's a big help for those weapons, and Ishit could never really just get it started.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I mean, he was just on the back foot the entire time, having trouble with pretty much everything that Addy Mestic was coming out at him. We're seeing Addy Mestic in a great form now, kind of reminiscent of what we saw in that, like a year ago. So it's kind of exciting to see him look this good so far, but we'll see how far he makes it moving on to the rest of the tournament, because there is still one more game for him to get through as long as he wins. Other than that, if he loses, I think it's 1, 2, 3 more matches. So we might see more of Addy Mestic. But how much more? We'll find out later. Either way, we got Erito in the lobby right now, and he's going to be going up against Hermiston. Hermiston, known widely for his Queen Nye picks, someone who still consistently plays I always make this problem. Thank you, Production Toast, for correcting me. It is Tito, not Erito. I swear, I always do it once.
I have never actually seen or heard of Tito before. I don't know if it's perhaps a top player name change or if it's someone new coming into the scene. Either way,
it's someone new.
Okay, it's someone new.
Newish. He's been playing. He's been playing like the entire year.
At least since the last time that I casted EU, I definitely haven't seen Tito. But it looks like another cannon player. EU is big on the cannon, at least right now, which I think is a good thing because cannon was getting extremely low representation for like all of last year. So at least now people are starting to pick it up a little bit.
There were still a few players that were playing it, but it was extremely limited. You're right on that, and especially, but with a lot of the cannon buffs, I mean, I think we are going to be seeing a lot of Zul here because one of the things that EU really does like to pull out in tournaments is Axe. We saw, I think, at the Brawl at the Beach tournament, EU in 1v1 and 2v2 was like a majority Axe to the tune of like 70% representation or something in the top 32. So getting these kind of buffs on the cannon side as well, I think we are going to see a lot of Zuls.
And, Viper plays Axe as well. Another EU player who famously has like gone very far in tournaments, especially lands with Axe. And of course, you got, speaking of lands, Hermiston, because Hermiston attends like pretty much all of the lands. Hermiston is a verified homie, cool dude, Mafia clutch master. And oh no, he's hovering Zul too.
Hovering? I think you mean he is picking Zul into the Zul.
He's locked into Zul.
This is a true. This is an orcish chieftain. A chieftain challenge ritual right now, who is going to take the top spot in the clan as the true chieftain of the tribe.
I have to say,
is it going to be Hermiston or Tito on the Zul? I'm
torn between my favorite of the skin selections here, because
Hermiston's all the way.
Because I love that Axe. I literally love. I have a soft spot for that Axe skin that Hermiston is using, but I kind of like the overall skin that Tito is rocking with the with like the bear head over top. That's the one that Sandstorm uses. It's a great skin. I love that one.
He's got the hoodie on, but Hermiston, I mean, look, do you see his eyes? He's got those MLG eyes. You remember the MLG eyes, MLG grin, that stuff?
Yeah, he's got the Ulgrim eyes for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely the Ulgrim eyes.
The eyes of a serial killer. Zul is ready to go in. The Axe Emlight landing. Tito actually didn't have a jump, so that was dangerous for a second. I think that was the first time that we've actually seen the new Dare hitbox. Hermiston wasn't really ready to convert off of it. Perhaps a little bit of unfamiliarity with the new.
Oh, very nice.
With the new changes, given how new they are. Ooh, a nice cider from Hermiston. Rocking that cannon skin from Lin Fei. Ooh, the neutral light. Neutral light is such a good cannon move, mainly because it sets your opponent off at the perfect offstage angle to end up finding the follow-up with either cannon dare or a weapon throw. And you saw him attempt the weapon throw there, didn't quite hit. Feels like Tito has been on the fence so far, or on the ropes rather. Hasn't really been able to find his footing.
Well, he has gotten a decent bit of damage off, especially on some of the retaliations that he's thrown out there. But for the most part, Hermiston has really been running the tables the entire way and finding that KO off the top and going right into the damage to start things off and putting it out. Oh, ground pound as well. Can he get back? He has the dodge, so very close. He almost did take the KO, and Hermiston didn't make it over to the right side fast enough to get that. But oh my gosh, Hermiston almost found that like respawn gimp timing 5-second KO timer. Like what the heck?
I have actually never in my life seen a cannon player attempt a double ground pound, and the fact that it almost worked is ridiculous. He kind of just read into Tito's soul, because you have to know exactly where they're moving in order to land that move, since it's way more linear than your dare and more punishable. Ooh, that nice side air from Tito, and that's actually the stock!
Oh Tito making a comeback right now, and now he actually has the lead. What a bonkers turn of events.
That is exactly what you can expect from Cannon Dittos. Crazy zero deaths like that, especially with Zol, where each hit deals so much damage. A nice down air to recovery to Hermiston. I actually don't know if there was anything Tito could do there, considering the initial down air kind of got him stuck on the right side platform. So rather than dodging when he pressed the dodge button, it would have just dashed and gotten him hit by the move anyways. Whether that was intentional or not from Hermiston, was a good way to find the kill. And now he's found himself back in the lead even after Tito's ridiculous combo on the second stock. Tito getting it started again though with the downlight dares.
Oh, I kind of wish Hermiston didn't dash into that neutral save so that he could hold it and then have the trap just sitting there, because I love that. I just love the fact that you can throw a trap down.
People walk into it all the time.
There.
Oh,
all
neutral light. That's going to be a good kill setup. Tito's dodge is burned. The side air, I don't know if that's going to be it yet. Oh yeah, that is going to be it.
He popped it. He got the side air after the recovery, so there was no coming back.
So I actually think with the way Hermiston played that, there was no way for Tito to get it back, which is major props to Hermiston. He used the neutral light to put him into the perfect position, and then he used the weapon throw follow-up. And what that meant is that Tito had either the choice to get hit by the weapon throw and die, or be forced to dodge the weapon throw, which left him without a dodge, and all Hermiston had to do was wait for the recovery, wait for him to expend the rest of his jumps and options, and then hit either a side air or a down air. He picked side air, it worked out perfectly for him. So, I hadn't seen a lot of Hermiston's Zol, but I'm only just now realizing that he actually has a level 33 Zol, which is like, you need to... That doesn't mean that he just picked up Zol this patch. Like, he's clearly been working on this pick for a while now, and it's showing.
I mean, Cannon's always been kind of like a good option. I mean, it's never been super strong, but it's definitely been a good option because it's always had the force. It's kind of had like kind of quick attacks, especially even though it's a lot of dedication into those side airs. I mean, if you land hits on those and you find those reads, you're going to throw people off the map almost every single time unless they're in like perfect white health. So the fact that it does a lot of damage and it has a lot of force, it's always been a decent pick. But now that it has the buffs, it's just way better.
That's actually it. That's actually it.
Tito, what the heck?
I knew it was it when he hit the gravity cancel side light, because whenever I play Cannon, nobody goes for that option, but if you catch them with that gravity cancel side light, there is legitimately nothing they can do. You kill them every time, and Tito has clearly been paying attention to Hermiston's dodge patterns, and he just read him straight up, and that means that Hermiston is going to be starting this game at now a stock and a half deficit, considering all of the damage that Tito has managed to build up on him since that initial gimp, and Tito just is not stopping. Hermiston finding a quick 3-hit to respond back with some damage of his own, but Tito is just continuing the pressure now, throwing out that neutral signature. One more good one will kill. Tito going to be left with the guitars once he grabs this weapon though. Wait, never mind. He actually prepped the cannon. That's a very smart thing that you can do if you're a weapon specialist.
Did you misspeak there when you said neutral sig? Because it looks like a neutral light special.
I mean, at the time I thought he was going to neutral sig, but neutral light works too, especially since it's Miami Dome and the side blast zones are a little more inwards.
It's a special neutral light. It's very fast.
Yeah, and I like what Tito did. I actually thought he was going to get the guitars, but he actually had prepped another cannon to make sure that as soon as he lost his cannon, he just had another one on the way. Which is actually, if you're a weapon specialist, like it appears Tito is, something that you can do to counteract the whole like weapon starving aspect of playing against someone who specializes in one weapon. Like now, Hermiston is in a prime position. If Tito has guitars up next, that is, I'm not exactly certain. But once you have him on his off weapon, you're in a prime position. Tito, though, the weapon ending up being another cannon for him, and he only needs 1 or 2 more good hits to end Hermiston's stock. A nice gravity cancel side signature. That side signature goes so far, and honestly, the weird sound that it makes that I don't even want to question how BMG made that sound effect is, it shakes me up. I just want to say, because that sound effect is completely unique, and that was a completely different game from game 1, because Tito just smashed Hermiston, and I would not be surprised if we see a switch to the tried and true Queen Nai for Hermiston, especially considering, at least personally, I like how the spear matchup plays into Cannon. Mm-hmm. Cannon likes to float at that kind of 45-degree angle to you, a lot of the time, and Spear Downlight catches that angle perfectly, and so does Guitar Downlight. So if we see Hermiston do some counterplay in that way using the Spear, and he did end up switching off to the Queen Nai, the level 91 Queen Nai, which is ridiculous. My Bodvar isn't even that high level, and I have been playing Bodvar for like 4.5 years. So
Yeah.
this is,
I mean,
this is
I don't know when they really started recording how long you've been playing, like with the XP. I think that was like sometime near the end of the closed beta. No, I think it was after closed beta.
It was definitely after I had started playing Bodvar, in
Yeah.
all fairness. But,
Either way,
it only
it's,
counts if it was after.
It's still a lot of time that you've been playing, so that's definitely something there. But either way, Tito already getting started with the cannon play, and Hermiston, I think, picking a much wider map this time because he doesn't want to. I mean, Miami Dome is a very small map. He was able to get taken off stage and almost put into that off stage read situation with no recourse because of how small and how close those blast zones are. Ooh, the down sig almost connecting onto Hermiston, but making his way back. He's still having a lot of trouble getting back to the Spear. Finally finding the side air, able to get Airto off his back for a small second, but it's still not quite enough. Tito, I feel like Hermiston's having a very hard time getting on top of Tito with the Lin face signatures right now.
Yeah, and I think it would benefit Hermiston a lot if he can slow down the pace of this game, so I like that he's taking his time with these hits. It's not exactly working yet because Tito is just so fast with his moves, but since Queen Nai has so much force, that is going to KO off the top, and now Hermiston is playing more to his pace, and he is in a much better position against Tito. Ooh, not going to kill. That is nerfed recovery. That is extra nerfed recovery.
Nerfed recovery and high defense for sure.
Yeah. Queen Nai never die is the famous phrase, and it holds true every time you play against or as Queen Nai. But that neutralite is gonna kill every time. That angle is so good, and Hermiston was really high damage, so a nice job finding the kill for Tito. He's only in the orange, so definitely one or two good cannon combos is gonna tie this game right back up if he can find one. Hermiston trying to wall him out with those Spear Endlights, finding a quick conversion for Tito. Almost tied up.
Those down sigs as well. Trying to find Tito on an approach, which, I mean, a lot of Cannon's moves throw the hurt box forward, so those down sigs are actually going to be very good right now, especially considering the fact that Tito is probably going to want to stay grounded for the most part to try to pick up Hermiston in some form of combo or string. Either way.
Ooh, he went for the sidelight in the neutral signature there, reading some sort of dodge from Hermiston, maybe an up dodge or no dodge at all, I suppose. Not quite hitting. That was a picture-perfect matrix dodge on the Queen Nai down sig. He used his own down signature to jump out of the way just in time. And
oh! Wow, weapon snipe, what?
I think Tito may have been
right
watching Hermiston more than he was watching his own character there to try to figure out his best way of recovery and didn't notice the weapon throw and got hit by. But that side signature is going to close out the stock. That side signature has so many active frames that he was able to throw it out. Hermiston did a full spot dodge and it still ended up hitting him. So good way to catch out his dodge. And now this game is pretty much even last stock. Game 3.
That's always so funny when people just... It's like they're trying to catch it. It's like alpha Brawlhalla where you can catch other people's weapons. And he just goes straight to it. Either way, Tito trying to get in with the cannon right now, but Hermiston actually doing a pretty decent job of holding the damage up. Uh-oh, is that going to be it? No, it's not. Tito go over the down sig option, trying to read the low comeback from Hermiston, but Hermiston making his way back to the stage is going to get a little bit more damage this time around. He's using those
the neutral signature.
But he does lose the weapon. And
Another
the double neutral signature, looking for that KO, looking for the number 3. Coming out, not going to connect this time. He's got the spear in hand. Neutral sig, not going to connect. Oh, and there's the side sig, finding the KO. And that is going to do it 2-1. Tito over Hermiston. And Hermiston going to drop down into the lower bracket. And a TWK applause coming out from Hermiston at the end. So TWK, that's one's for you.
I mean, we're seeing a ton of cannon. In all fairness, I think Hermiston attempted to play a cannon of his own in the first game. So you're not exempt from any potential balance excuses on that one, Hermiston. Getting sent early into the losers bracket, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him make a run through, considering he is a frequent top 8er in EU. But a nice upset to add to Tito's list of growing names that he has taken down, and his cannon was looking spicy. He seemed like he knew what he was doing on both legends that he ended up playing, both the Zul and the Lin Fei. You know, the Qatar is a little less so on the Lin Fei, but I think it's fine to be like to be good at just a single weapon if you're able to play around that properly, and he did. He played around that very well.
I mean, even so, he still has a lot of people in the EU region have been playing Qatars for a long time, so it's not like he probably doesn't know how to use them. And some of those signatures as well, especially the neutral signature, in my own opinion, are really good because of how many active frames there are. If you're getting them back and they're trying to expect for the move to run out like a little earlier, you can usually catch them in that, especially because there are just so many. But either way, you can't go wrong with either of the weapon sets, because Qatars are, I mean, at their most basic, I think, kind of easy to use, because you can always use the neutral airs, you can always use the down lights, and you can always just hit people with the down airs as well, off stage, on stage. Either way, it's not the combo starter it was a while back, but still, it is it's still a good option. Either way, we got Agzo and Jaku here in this next matchup. Agzo on the Heatwave Thor with the flamingo lawn ornament. It's looking real good. He's got the tube on as well.
I actually didn't notice the tube around his waist on the skin. That's so good. I was so hung up on the hat and the glasses that I had never noticed the duck floaty, but that's so good. Oh, Jaku actually off to a very strong start with the Qatars swapping over to the sword to try to weapon starve rather, Agzo. Agzo finding an orb of his own now, ready to start getting some stuff going. Of course, Agzo, a very long-standing Thor player, pretty much made the switch as soon as Thor came out. Has played Hammer for a long time, used to be more of a Bodvar player, but I think the Thor's been working out great for him. Rocking that Nimue cube, I believe, on that orb skin. Ooh, gravity cancel downlight. That was a perfect dodge by Jaku to dodge out the gravity cancel downlight on the hammer. Agzo, the downlights are not quite closing it out. Both players are one hit away from death, especially considering it's Brawlhalla, and it's going to be Jaku who finds the down signature first, getting his own opportunity to weapon starve Agzo a little bit, choosing the Qatars over the sword. I think that's the right choice, considering the Qatars are a lot better for building up damage in the early segments of the stocks.
The force on the hammer, though, is going to turn right around, of course. Jaku being really low, a lot of force coming out from that hammer, especially on the scoop. Throw him right off the top of the close blast zones on Brawlhaven. It's all just come together to give Agzo that KO to equalize everything. Jaku getting stuck off stage, though, and Agzo trying to get the orb damage out, and not really finding too many hits here. Not anything, too decisive just yet, but now a little bit of the edge guard play right now. Caught Jaku in the air. Wasn't able to find any more juggle options, even though Jaku was completely exhausted there. I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, these players seem to be playing very vertically against each other right now. It's either Agzo popped up in the air versus Jaku, and Jaku trying to juggle him, or it's vice versa. They're not really facing each other horizontally very much. And it seems to be working out for Agzo right now, because even though Jaku took the first stock, Agzo now finds himself in a pretty healthy lead, especially considering Thor's defense and offense stats. The amount of time that he can live on this stock is way more than any other, or not any other character, but way more than Jaku at least can live. And he's already finding tons of damage, especially considering how hard hitting this hammer is, especially on Thor. Ooh, looking for a recovery maybe?
He was looking for it, but Jaku, I think, recognized that was an option and went straight back to the stage as soon as he could. And now coming back onto the stage, the neutral light, a little bit of a safe option to try to get back on the stage. Agzo with the scoop, but it's not going to work. He's going to need, Raisin Brand, 2 scoops of them to get him off the top. Jaku looking for the down air, not going to find it. 2 of them thrown out. Agzo with a good avoidance, though, so that was good movement on his part. Jaku looking for a little bit more here. The recovery is going to give it to him, and that is going to be another KO, evening up the stocks. But Jaku is still in the red, so it's a very difficult position. It's not impossible, of course. It's just a very hard one to come back from, but that is going to do it. That very nice gravity cancel side light into side air. Pretty simple bread and butter orb stuff. It's not the easiest thing to do, though.
Yeah, it's a pretty hard true combo, all things considered, and I think the payoff is right for how difficult it is, because it kills early, especially with maps like Brawlhalla that have small blast zones on the side. Shoutouts to Jaku, reminding me a little bit of my homeland of North America, just spamming sword downlight until it lands and then doing a recovery to find the kills. As bad as it sounds, is a legitimate strategy that many sword players employ, and it works. And it worked for him there, and I think Jaku might want to try a little more on the sword, because the Katars didn't seem to be working quite as well for him. Got the Katars now, though. Only finding the neutral light, no follow-up. Downlight, no follow-up. He can't quite get the read on Agzo's dodges right now. Good job by Agzo to keep himself unpredictable, not letting Jaku get the read on him, because if a Katar player starts reading your dodges, it can turn out really bad for you. He actually read one right there, but didn't get a whole lot out of it. A little bit of hesitation before actually doing the follow-up. Ooh, a ground pound to recovery from Agzo. I've never seen that on
Into the
Orb.
side air, and the weapon throw not going to connect it, though. A lot of unconventional stuff, but that is sometimes what you have to do. The nice dodge from Jaku to avoid the finisher, but there's another one coming out. Gravity cancel side sig. The rush, grab, and pop, I guess. I don't know. That's the most generic thing ever, and that's so much more stylistic than that. It deserves a better name. Either way, Jaku getting KO'd off the side and trying to come back and find the slap back KO, but Agzo just completely ignoring the fact that he's trying to do that and just putting out his own damage.
Yeah, Agzo just, I mean, like, these two weapons, I've been saying this about a lot of weapons today. It's because there are a lot of weapons that rack up damage really quickly, and these two are more of them. Agzo is able to extend his lead so quickly with just a few orb strings in a row. And right now he's already got Jaku into the orange. Jaku is not able to find a kill option right now. Will he start using the downlight strategy? There it is! Every time! Every sword player. It works. Just use downlight, look for a recovery until it works.
That's not too different from what it was in early closed beta.
You just want to keep throwing back to the time when you were Diamond. No, you still are Diamond, I think.
I was top 20.
Yeah, you were top 20.
Definitely a different,
top
definitely
20 of,
time.
Of a few people. But of course, this game has come so far since closed beta times.
It's extremely
We didn't have
different.
fast falling, didn't have dashing, didn't have anything. And now, I'm very proud to say that the game that we are watching today is much more exciting than what it was back in the day.
Oh,
Agzo
geez.
finding the stock.
I don't even want to talk about. I don't even want to talk about it from what it was like for real before.
Pre fast falling is definitely forbidden. It's cursed.
Except for throw damage, but that's the only exception. Anyway, Agzo with the orb right now, trying to get a little bit more damage, but Jaku doing a little better at avoiding some of these follow-up hits. I mean, Agzo might find one hit, but Jaku might find the follow-up retaliation, just, kind of a volley of attacks back and forth between the two players. Agzo, of course, with the advantage right now, and Jaku has to be a little bit more careful because he can't afford to take much more than this. If he does take this second stock off of Agzo, he has to have a little bit of wiggle room at the end to deal with the last stock. Goes right into that neutral sig though, and now without a weapon it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but he does find some Katars right at the backside, at the right side of the stage. Agzo looking for a little bit more though. The haymaker coming out, not going to connect as well, and now Jaku looking for a signature. He's got to find the KO even if the stocks, but he is already in the red. This is kill potential, especially for Thor, who can find a lot of early KOs, especially from a lot of those signature moves that he has in his kit. I don't think there are any that won't kill at this point.
Yeah, and Jaku was essentially faced with two options: either take the Katars and look for a long damage string, or play with the sword, give yourself a little more leeway with the hitboxes, and look to play a perfect game. He opted for the sword, which I think was the right choice, but it didn't end up working out for him. Agzo finding a nice down air, which actually kills very early now, especially on Miami Dome, especially on Thor, and especially after the buffs. And I think Agzo is someone who definitely knows his weapon and knows that is going to kill every single time.
And I mean, he taking advantage of it. Of course he does. Like he's been playing this character. He knows what he's going to get out of it. And it's just, more of what he's expecting. What we're expecting out of the Thor pick is just a lot of strong stuff, a lot of early KOs, especially on Miami Dome, like you were saying. And I'm expecting to see even more. He's going to be going up against Finest's 2D in the qualifiers for top 8. The other qualifiers so far for top 8 are people playing in the qualifiers coming up in a little bit. Is going to be Blue and Machette. They're going to be going up against each other. Then it's going to be Simple and Addy Messick, and then, like we said just now, 2D and Tito facing off against one another. And then, of course, Heissen and Agzo, Heissen and Agzo is the one that just came together. And we're going to be starting off at the top, of course, Blue and Machette starting the qualifiers to find out who goes into the winner's side bracket for tomorrow's finals.
I don't think we're starting at the top, actually.
Are we not? Oh, I guess we switched because...
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Blue wanted to do his last, I guess. So, yeah, that's going to be a thing. But so, Simple and Addy Messick, so technically still the higher end.
Yeah, it's still starting close to the top, not quite at the top. Of course, giving Blue the time to figure out whatever he needs to figure out. He's having some technical issues or whatnot. But no problem. I was actually excited to see more of Addy Messick anyways after his crushing victory that he pulled earlier on this Petra. I always love to see new characters. I love to see how people use their signatures, how people use their weapon combinations in new and fresh ways. And Addy definitely being an early adopter of this Petra. Very few people aside from Boomy and Addy have really made the switch to Petra so far. A few people, you always have your day one, hey guys, I'm going to play Petra. I think this character is really the one for me. And then they drop off after about 3 days. But we got 2 Petra loyalists from both NA and EU.
Why do I always feel like it's someone who doesn't play like the new weapon that always tries to make the new character their main, and then they just quit because they have no idea how to use like Orb?
Yeah, they're like, wait
example.
a second, I don't even understand what Orb does, actually. So I'm just going to go back. They're
the day one person in rank that only uses Hadoukens.
Think of playing Street Fighter out here.
So this is going to be, I think, a really interesting matchup. Of course, Simple using the blasters right now and Addy Messick on the gauntlets. And the gauntlets have the option, the teleports behind you option. So with a lot of the spacing that we're going to see from Simple, I think we're going to see Addy Messick pop it out with the down sig a few times to try to, get the behind you mix up to try to force Simple into that mindset. And maybe because Addy Messick on the Petra, very nice side sig, gravity cancel from Addy Messick to find that KO. Because those side sig and the down sig are so similar on those startup animations, you can kind of get mix-ups on those two options, especially against someone using blasters like Simple and Lucian. So if Addy Messick can condition Simple enough with the down sig on gauntlets, maybe we can see a lot of mix-up and mind games onto him in the future. But that's something for him to figure out himself. It's not quite going to work, I think, with Katars, but either way.
Those signatures, Simple just throwing them out because he can. Those signatures are pretty close in recovery time to light attacks. I know sometimes you joke around and say that sig is basically a light attack. But, his signatures are honestly great, and he needs them because of his low force. And I think that's pretty much like the only thing that keeps Lucian viable. Addy coming out with huge orb strings, building up so much damage on the Simple, and Simple definitely favoring the Katars more than the guns after how poorly that first stock went that he was trying to play more of the guns.
Look for the recovery. Oh, he's exhausted now. He's going to get punished, and that's Simple with the neutral sig. Trying to find a follow-up. Not going to find the down sig. The dodge through the neutral sig. Very nice move from Simple, but he is going to get caught in the neutral light. Going off stage. Getting caught in the middle of the animation for the down sig. A smart option for him to use, but the punish from Addy Messick was just a little bit better. And now that is going to be Simple in the last stock. He's got to be a little bit careful because Addy Messick's still not in that kill potential, but he has him off stage. The blasters and exhausted. He's got one jump. It's gone. He's got the recovery gone. He makes it back to stage, but that was the punish opportunity.
Yeah, if Simple had landed on the stage there, he probably would have been able to find a gun recovery, but he actually fell just short and ended up on the wall, which meant that Addy got free passage back onto the stage. Addy now hitting a gravity cancel sideline and decider looking for the Hadouken. Instead, he's constantly keeping the pressure on Simple. Simple is looking a little lost on this Lucian, finding the recovery, able to bring it within a one-stock game. But Addy just feels like he is so much ahead of Simple right now. not just damage-wise, but momentum-wise. It feels like Simple hasn't really had the momentum all game, hitting the Hadouken, but since it was cross-stage, not hitting. He keeps getting these cross-stage hits, and that Sarah's going to close it out, giving him a JV2 and a commanding game from Addy Mestic. I wonder if Simple is going to look to change things up, because it really seemed like past that first stock, he didn't really want to use the guns too much. I'm wondering if this is a new pickup for him, the Lucian, since yesterday? No, it was definitely not yesterday. Since a few days ago's patch, making guns a lot stronger. I've never seen Simple playing Lucian, but I'm not certain. I've always viewed him as more of a Bodvar player, at least in the 2v2, or Ragnar, something along those more European picks.
More conventional lines.
Yeah,
I think is the thing to say. I mean, sticking to Axe, always a safe bet, especially in the EU side of things. Maybe picking the Zol, but I mean, I don't think we're going to see that from Simple. I don't know if he knows how to play Cannon at this level. I don't know if he'd be comfortable with that. So maybe going with this same pick, maybe we'll see him use blasters more, because we didn't see it too much. And the blasters pick, I think, would work a lot better against probably Orb if he can space out enough. I don't know if it'll work against Gauntlets enough, unless he can really space out Addy Mestic and force him into bad situations. But then that you could literally say that for anything. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think momentum is going to be a huge factor in this game. If Simple can find something and get something going early on in the game, it might play out a lot differently for him than last game. But Addy opened up with a huge orb string, already having Simple into the deep orange. 1 or 2 more hits will put him into kill damage. A side air again. Addy is just so consistent with how he's finding these hits and building up damage. The Hadouken blasting Simple off the stage and blasting the weapon out of his hands. Addy only needing a good combo or a good signature to close it out. Simple getting a good catch on his landing, though, with the Qatar neutral light. Or neutral sig, rather. I'm
actually really surprised. Simple, he was right on top of Addy. He could have thrown out that neutral light to get a little bit more damage, potentially throw Addy Mestic downward, but he didn't throw it out. He just kind of waited. I think he still thought Addy Mestic had his dodge there, but he did end up finding the first KO in this match, so that's good on him. He's real deep in the red, and this is some dangerous territory, especially against that Orb side air. He's got to be careful. He's got the Katars, though. He can try to get on top of Orb, which I don't know is the best idea unless you're coming in at a diagonal angle with like down air or maybe a recovery, depending on which angle you're coming from. But I don't know. It's going to be a kind of difficult for him to get a lot of stock extension here onto Addy Mestic right now with how hot Addy Mestic is doing.
Yeah, Addy looking for... Okay, I was going to say an Orb side air, but an Orb and light works as well when it's directed in the right direction, knocking Simple out. And compared to some of the, it's still going.
Oh, this is so dangerous.
Yeah, playing against an Orb off stage like that is scary, but Simple did have the guns, which it should be noted are one of the strongest vertical weapons in the game. Able to get himself back on the stage, but not for long, as Addy knocking him off again. Building extra damage, got Simple into the red now. Throwing out a few signatures, but they're getting punished by Simple. Simple looking for the down signature on the Katars. Addy landing another Orb side air. He's just so consistent with landing these hits, building up this damage, and looking for the neutral signature. That one hasn't really been working out too well for him. I think that's one of Petra's least used sigs out of the Petra players that I've seen so far, next to the Spirit Bomb. Neutral light knocking Simple off the stage. That side air is going to close out the stock. Great force on that move as always, and Addy finding himself in a lead despite Simple taking that first stock in a pretty nice fashion for himself. Simple been slowing down a little bit in the double nair. Actually couldn't find the recovery follow-up. Like, great side air. I can't believe that actually caught him. That stopped him from getting punished by Simple. Simple just throwing out the haymaker. Not finding the KO on Addy, though, and that side signature is going to find that stock. One of Simple's strongest kill options so far has been that Katara side signature, so just falling back on what works for him. I like it.
I mean, next to Qatar down sig off stage, I mean, it's one of the best kill options that Lucian has. So it's no surprise to see him throwing it out there. And Addy Mestic trying to throw out some signature moves right now to throw Simple off stage potentially, but not able to find any of them onto Simple right now. Simple doing a decent job at avoiding the big hits where it counts. Oh, the double recovery though into the Shoryuken. Oh, gross, Addy Mestic. You towel or something to clean that up because that was just nasty. Oh my gosh.
Jesus. The way that Addy uses those neutral stakes completely changed from the first set that we saw him to this one. The first set, he was throwing them out nonstop because Machette was getting caught by him all the time. He was like, I have the confidence to keep throwing these out. You're not dodging them, so I'm not going to stop. That set, he held it till the very, very end until Simple just forgot it was even a thing that existed. And then he threw it out when it actually mattered, ending up closing the set out versus Simple. Addy going to be punching his ticket into winner's side top 8. I'm excited to see more of that Petra. It's looking great. He's looking comfortable on the orb, more so than he's been using the gauntlets, but I'm sure he can make some magic happen with those gauntlets as well.
I mean, that's what we know him for. So
yeah.
If anything, if he has to get forced into those gauntlets, if he himself is just favoring orb that much more than the gauntlets, if he has to get forced into the gauntlets, I think he's perfectly fine because that is like where he was born and bred, essentially.
Yeah, his orb has recency bias, as in, like, he has been playing more orb than gauntlets recently, so I think that's why we see him, you know, having that more as the fallback weapon recently. I also think that orb is a lot more consistent in what you can do. Like, when you find a good read on gauntlets, you can get a lot of damage, but orb is good for just racking it up and, like, finding those kills as soon as they get into red when you really need to.
It's definitely a fantastic option for him to have to fall back on. I don't think he's going to have too many issues as long as he can keep his own personal play up, because his own personal play today has been fantastic. Like his movement, his follow-ups, his mindset in terms of like when to use things have been really on point today. So I can't expect that he's going to be in a bad position tomorrow, but that's for tomorrow. Right now we have Heissen and Agzo facing off to find out who will qualify for tomorrow's top 8 on the second bracket. To find out, well, we'll get to that part later. Either way, we got the bands, Blackguard, Fortress, and Great Hall. What do you think?
I expect Agzo to go Mammoth. Or not Agzo, Heissen. I expect... Yeah, I mean, Mammoth is always an easy fallback. It's the classic for competitive Brawlhalla. Oh, no, we're going to Blackguard, actually.
So we're going to get a little bit more of a wider blast zone here. I don't think in ones this is the widest blast zone difference on a map, but I think in twos it is. I think
it's a good pick for Heissen, considering the fact that Agzo is mostly going to be looking to knock out horizontally with those orb side airs and hammer stomp stairs. And whereas Heissen, you know, he has Katars and Sword, he's going to be looking to KO off the top with Katar recoveries, Sword recoveries. Ooh, that was a slick double there, but actually miscalculating how many jumps he had for a second, almost dying for it. Now Agzo has him in an unfavorable position. That hammer round pound is so strong. And the weapon throw.
No, that was really unfortunate. Had to go for the shark recovery. But that weapon throw from the hammer, it covers so much space that you can't really give it any. You can't assume you're just gonna miss it by going straight for the ledge. He had to take a risk, and it just didn't work. Unfortunately, that was really well done by Agzo.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for a second there, it was looking really good for Heissen. But Agzo, like, the way that he threw his hammer after hitting the ground pound made it so Heissen couldn't recover. Like, the only way that he could have recovered was by using all of his options quickly before he lost too much vertical height. And Agzo shut that off by making him dodge it. But now Heissen's starting to find some guitar strings. Game is looking pretty even overall. Looking for the ground pound. I hate that move. That move scares me every time for the guitar player because I just feel like they're going to get punished every time. But Heissen knowing his limits better than I do. Landing the nair, side light, down light. Agzo just doing a quick wake up downer, getting himself out of that guitar string. And now looking for the hammer recovery to smack him straight down.
Going real deep for it too. He went way down there. Just trying to stay below Heissen the entire time, and even throwing it back out. Even Heissen and Hardy got back on stage. Well, so that's how deep he was looking for. He's looking for it again right now. No, throwing out the neutral air. So I guess that's a different approach to the problem. Take him off the top if you can't find him off the bottom. But Heissen still getting a little bit more damage out with the guitars. Looking for a little bit more, just barely avoiding the side sig and not getting too big of a punish on it. On to Agzo, but I guess you don't really have the time to retaliate that way. against the side sig. The recovery frames, I think it's kind of hard to figure out when it does finish for the punish, but hey, whatever's safest. Not taking damage is better than taking damage.
Ooh, Heissen looking on the edge there for a second with that guitar in there. Could have converted that into more if he read Exo's options correctly. Ooh, Exo finding the hammer there, putting himself back into the game. Always a good option to find kills, especially with how Heissen has been playing so far, favoring more vertical options on the sword. And now he's back with guitars. Ooh, Exo has Heissen in a dangerous situation right now. Heissen, good job dodging the orb dare, punishing with a guitar nair of himself, but not wanting to overcommit to anything since orb has the potential to knock you out very quickly with a combination of orbs and ground pounds off stage. And now the damage is pretty much tied up. Exo utilizing that high force on Thor to rack up the damage quicker than Heissen could. Ooh, and hitting the recovery, this could be an end sig from Exo. For the stomp, looking for any sort of option.
He's trying to make that approach, but he's going to lose the guitars in the process. And the punch, the side air is not going to do too much. It's going to be Exo still on stage. This down sig is going to throw him quite a bit of ways, but you can't really chase down Exo off stage. You got to get that side air, and he is. And he's going to find that KO, and that was a very nice way to take that victory away from Exo there at the end after so much success that Exo had throughout that whole matchup. Finding that KO right at the very end, forcing him off stage, getting the right situation for that side air, not trying to contest the hammer vertically, was the best thing that Heissen could have done there. And that was exactly why he found that W in game number 1.
Ooh, and Exo saying, I'm done playing around. No more pool floaties. No more flamingos. No more hat. No more sunglasses. We're pulling down the visor. And it's about to get serious in here.
He's got the Wendigo sidekick as well, so he's going full on spooky man. This is dangerous for Heissen. He's got to play very careful right now because this mind game has completely 180'd from Exo.
I'm convinced that skill switches are more powerful, or sorry, not skill. Skin switches are more powerful of a tactic than character switches. Because it really means something. And, you know, this is the skin that Exo has made most of his tournament runs on Thor on, if I am correct in saying that. I remember seeing Exo using this skin in color quite frequently on Thor. Of course, the newer skin has only just came out recently. Heissen finding the D-Lights there. Exo off stage, not able to find any sort of option to get himself back onto the stage safely. And that means that Heissen is just going to continue to juggle him with this sword. Man, I gotta say, like, the way that Heissen is playing is very, like, Noel, like, NA Sword-esque. That downlight Sarah was perfectly spaced for the, to beat out the orb recovery, and just the way, I'll say it again, the way that Heissen is playing is very NA Sword-esque, and I found that NA, like, style sword play tends to do pretty well into EU players in general. So, Exo isn't very sure on how to respond to this sort of pressure right now, and Heissen is just being patient about it, and he's waiting for Exo to approach him from off stage where Hammer excels, obviously, and fighting on his terms. That was a great drop down recovery. He dropped off the stage and took Exo back onto the stage. He just
are we sure that this isn't actually Noel, because he's playing the same skin Noel plays on Asuri? So
Heissen is straight up EU Noel right now. Ooh, Exo went low, baiting like he was out of recovery options.
I thought he was going to follow with the ground pound. That would have actually connected onto Exo, and that would have been a real dangerous situation. I don't think it would have KO'd him straight off the bat. I think he would have had some kind of recourse to get back to stage, but at the same time, that would have been a real dangerous situation. Exo taking the full force of that down sig from Heissen. Heissen looking for the side air. That's going to be it off the down light, and now coming back on the stage. Wow, is Heissen going to 3-stock?
This is like unheard of for playing against a player as high caliber as Exo. I mean, obviously we know that Heissen is a serious threat. We've seen him top 8, top 3 tournaments before. But I've never seen him do it using Asuri, or for that matter, sword or guitars. So it's such a surprise to see such a polished and clean Asuri out of Heissen right now.
Out of EU in general, because it's not something we normally see. Like, we might see Asuri, but it'll be like this really
It'll be blue usually only.
Yeah, like pretty much only blue. Yeah, and this is just a complete change from what we normally expect. I like it.
And there is something to be
like
said about the fact that when you pick a character that your region doesn't have as much experience playing against, obviously that's going to benefit you because they're not as accustomed to playing against what options you can use in neutral, how hard you can punish them off stage, and stuff like that. And especially if he's playing a different style from Blue, which it feels like he is. I feel like Blue's a lot more Qatar-centric, and Heissen is playing a lot more on the sword. Then you have extra ways to confuse your opponent. Axel looking for the orb ground pound, not quite finding. The gravity cancel down saying, I swear to God, this dude is actually Noel. I don't believe that it's not. He is playing so cleanly right now. He just needs 1 or 2 more good hits. Are we going to see the sword minigame of spam downlight until you can find a downlight recovery and then win the game? There's 1, 2.
I mean, honestly, it's either this is literally Noel, or Heissen found Noel's like Flashpoint jersey from Flashpoint sweater from a long time ago that made him look like super clean and super mean, like way back in the day. So maybe he found that somewhere on the side of the road. It has Noel's name on it, and he's just like taking up the persona of Noel.
He found a flash drive loaded with Noel's playstyle and copied it and is making improvements upon it and shifting it to his own style. Heissen just looking absolutely great, taking Agzo into the loser's bracket and putting himself into the winner's side top 8. That was a clean, I keep using that word, but that was such a clean performance from Heissen. It just never looked like he made like a bad mistake in that game. Like there were minor spacing mistakes.
It's a Mr. Clean scrubby it's a Mr. Clean scrubby buddy material right there. Like some real sudsy bubbles, if you know what I mean.
Call him Mr. Clean. Heissen, aka Mr. Clean, aka EU Noel. We'll just keep
AKA Young Gravy? No.
Oh, wow. Okay, Machette and Blue are very eager to get into their set. So we don't have much more time to talk about that one.
Nope, we have to talk about this one now,
wait,
and that's
Apocalypse.
Machette.
Apocalypse is open.
Oh,
come on.
Are they gonna play Apocalypse? Is this gonna be the first time?
Nah.
No! I wanted to see it. I've never seen Apocalypse in a tournament setting yet. I want to see it.
I mean, this is the first tournament with Apocalypse being shifted into the legal map. Thank God, no more Thunderbird Stadium in the map pool. And Apocalypse is actually not that bad of a map. I kind of like it. They opted for the Brawlhalla instead, which I can definitely see from both of these players' viewpoints. If you're Machette, you're thinking, I have cannon, I have axe, I have high force. This guy is going to die in actual orange. And if you're Blue, I mean, if you saw the Blue versus Noel set at CEO, the things that Blue did to Noel off stage with guitars were unspeakable and shall not be talked about ever again by any NA player, or else it will be viewed as a form of being a traitor.
I heard that there was a cop standing off on the side of the stage waiting for him to be done with his set so he could take him away. Because it was just like some next level of abuse.
Like, Blue's guitars are ridiculous off stage. Blue finding himself the sword. Machette had a strong opener and able to continue that kind of a lead, finding the axe side air. Of course, if you're an axe player and your opponent is in high damage, you are probably looking for a side air to close it out.
There with a little bit more cannon damage, trying to force Blue off stage, and with cannon, I mean, that's one of the best things you can do. I don't know if you're going to catch Blue in the read option, take him all the way just yet. I think he knows maybe when to throw that out there. That's up to Machette to figure that out and get that read option to succeed. But Blue with the advantage right now, the guitar's on stage, looking for a little bit more damage. Machette not able to get to that weapon spawn at all.
All right, so this is kind of a secret. But I'm telling, all the people who are watching the stream right now, Machette's been doing neutral light into dodge side light, like dodging to the ground side light on cannon at 0%, and I'm pretty sure that's true. Like 90% sure that is true. So it is a fantastic opener to the stock. Cannon can get almost any move that it finds at the beginning of the stock can convert into a ton of damage, which is one of the reasons why we've been seeing it so much today. And one of the reasons why Machette is currently in a lead over Blue, who is statistically EU's best. Ooh, at
least the most consistent.
The new ground pound. He used it.
But it's not grounded, and he didn't land with it, so you wouldn't be able to tell. Although I really do like, I love the new ground pound. I love it so much. It is so much better than what it is before.
I've heard from like Wilson and Isidore and a lot of NAX players that they actually like the new ground pound more as an edge guarding option, and that you can actually utilize it pretty well. Mm-hmm. The only thing is that it seems like down air is less of an option that Axe players have been using as far as offstage. You saw a lot of Axe players play like gimp heavy styles with utilizing the Axe down airs, but it seems like a lot of Axe players have stepped up their neutral game since these changes, Machette included, and he is a good 1 or 2 hits away from taking game 1 versus Blue with a 2-stock lead, or with a 1-stock lead, but at 2 stocks currently.
Blue on the sword now. He's got the side sig potential where he can just run across the stage. He might be able to take Machette by surprise with that. Ooh. Oh, the ground pound.
That was so fast.
Coming out. Didn't find the KO. The weapon throw, not quite going to do it as well. I think you'd have to catch it with that offstage for it to make a real difference. Side air coming out, and there it is. The cleanup, the easy cleanup.
Now, this is where...
1 stock left, though.
This is where if you're Machette, you have to not lose your composure and think that Blue is like potentially like in the situation for a comeback since it's Brawlhalla, since he has guitars, since you can't find the weapon. He found his weapon though, found his opening, and that neutral light is just gonna kill straight up. Because it's Zol.
Stage, neutral light.
Because it's Zol, and because it's Brawlhalla, and because it's Cannon neutral light. There are many reasons for why that killed, all of which upset me. Oh!
I mean, look.
Wait a second. I've never seen this. I've never seen this character selection from Blue.
I don't even know who that is in little... Who is that?
That's Jiro.
That's Jiro?
Yeah. I don't think I've actually ever seen Blue play Jiro. And
I don't think I've ever seen that skin.
Interesting to note that Heissen was advising from the side saying, please take defense to Blue, and Blue said, no. So, even though he's against Zol, he doesn't feel like he needs the extra defense. He feels like he's just going to win the neutral game straight up, and that his other stats are going to help him more to do that. So, right now, grabbing the Scythe, maybe he feels like Scythe is potentially a counterpick to Cannon. That would be the main reason why I would see him switching to this, because I mean I feel like the sword wasn't doing him too many favors on the Asuri. So maybe he's just figuring, I'm gonna play more on the Scythe, try to use this as my response to Machette's Cannon, since just nothing was working in that first game.
This is actually some exceptional movement from Machette right now, avoiding a lot of the stuff that Blue is throwing out, Scythe and otherwise. The dodge movements have been perfect. The attack selections have been pretty on point as well. So Machette, I think, is doing a phenomenal job starting off game number 2 against Blue. And if this goes on, Blue is going to be in some real deep dish trouble.
Yeah, he just... It seems like he's finding stray hits here and there, but he can't find any huge conversions like the type that Machette is finding with just his true combos. Like, Blue has to find reads to make it happen, and he's just not able to find the reads. Whereas Machette is just playing a character where he just needs to find the openings in neutral, and given, like, with the weapons that he's playing, it's a little bit more challenging to find those openings, but when he gets those openings, he's just finding so much off of them. Ooh, getting knocked off stage. Wow. That's a deal I'd say that only kills after post-patch when side air was made a viable move again.
Mm-hmm.
Blue knowing his stuff, knowing his damages.
Blue's turn around. Finally able to find like some moment where Blue can actually utilize the active input from Scythe. Oh, the double recovery. Triple? No.
No, I went for the nair, which I think was the correct choice there. Blue able to dodge it out, though.
I mean, triple recovery would have been more fun, but
that's
yeah,
true.
It's probably the right choice.
Would have been
probably the right choice.
Way more hype.
Oh, Machette with the big brain plays, looking so wrinkly right now on that brain case. Oh my gosh, Machette with the huge. Oh my gosh. Oh, that was so sick. I just popped off. Woo!
Yeah, I actually would like to believe that was completely on purpose, and when he threw his axe, he knew that he was gonna go for that and just went for it. Oh my gosh, and that's just gotta be mentally, like, crushing for Blue since he just keeps getting hit by these cannon combos. He just cannot find his footing versus Machette right now. Machette hitting him over and over again, and that Sarah is going to close it out with that 2-stock. Blue just falling apart after that stylish kill from Machette. And Machette going to be the third player making it into top 8. And Blue going to be the third player to complain in post-game chat about balance today. I mean, it's strong. Like, I don't want to sugarcoat it. Like, cannon is a very strong weapon.
It's pretty strong.
And EU is using it to great effect right now. I think that was something else. I think we've been seeing a lot of orb and cannon play from EU, and I think that is smart on them to play what's strong and adapt to the current meta. And I like to see, weapons used to their fullest potential. So,
sure, exactly. But I think what he did there with the down air into the weapon throw connect, I think you could do that with a lot of different weapons. It just happened to be like the perfect angle for that to happen, and that was just the hypest looking thing ever. But still, I don't think that has anything to do with cannon in general. But oh man, yeah. But the cannon, especially coming out from Machette, looking exceptionally good. So. It's going to be something that Addy Mestic is going to have to deal with tomorrow, and he's playing the Petra, so of course the Orb in the Gauntlet matchup against Cannon. I don't know how that's going to work out because Cannon grounded is really, really strong right now, especially for picking up into strings and combos. And I don't think, unless Addy Mestic is going to use a lot of those, when he has gauntlets, a lot of those signature moves, that he's going to be ultra successful. But either way, Tito and 2D are going to face off. This is going to be the last top bracket qualifier for tomorrow's top 8. Find out who goes up against Heissen in tomorrow's top 8.
Already, Tito, I was kind of saying that his guitars were not nearly as strong as his cannon before, but he looks like a completely different player on these guitars now this game.
Gosh.
One more hit and that's going to close it out. No, 2D is able to find his way back, but already so much damage, and that end sync is going to close it out. I don't know in how many seconds because I have my timer off.
No, you're right. You said one more hit. He threw out the neutral sync. It was one more hit. You're right. You're still right. For once. Oh my gosh, Tito is coming out swinging right now. This is ridiculous. I don't know how to turn damage on. I want to see how much damage there is. Stock mode timer. Always show. There we go. Wait, only a minute has passed and almost 2 stocks are gone from 2D. This is Air Tito.
This is prime Air Tito. And I was wondering a little bit because but neither of these players are, like last game was Blue versus Machette, and both of those players are they have name recognition. We've seen them in top 8s before, but I wasn't aware of either of these players going into this match, and it's a match happening at the same round as the previous matches that we've been seeing. And so I looked into it a little bit. Viper did DQ, who is normally who we would have seen here, but 2D actually beat Chetero to make his way here. And of course we saw Tito take out Hermiston in his own right. So both of these guys earned their ways into this top 8 winner's side qualifier. But Tito is just looking so strong right now.
After what we've been seeing, I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind that Tito, earned his keep in this tournament.
Yeah, this guy's actually insane. Oh my god!
I'm just saying. Got him with the gravity cancel neutral thing. I'm so happy. I was waiting for that to come out because it has so many active frames, and 2D just came right into it. So I've been waiting for that one.
Tito actually never stops. Oh my gosh! Is this gonna be a 3-stock? And 2D ends it. He had no recovery options left. Tito with the first 3-stock of the day. That was absolutely ridiculous. Tito, no shots at my boy 2D. Tito is actually making this look like a pools match.
I was actually, I didn't want to say it earlier because I thought it'd be way too BM, but I was going to say it looked like Tito was playing in the experimental queue.
Yeah, someone's got to say it, dude. Tito, and that's not to downplay 2D. That wasn't like 2D was looking lost.
We've seen some real good stuff from 2D in the past. We've seen him get up in the top 8s and take down some real big players, but this is just some next level stuff right now.
That was actually like that. I saw, you know. Oh, I was gonna say something, but
mirror
I'm
match.
caught off guard by the fact that 2D has switched to his level 7 Lin Fei. And, you know, I mean, maybe he has some time clocked in onto Canon and Qatar legends who aren't Lin Fei. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. This could be ye old salt pick as well, where you lose to someone playing a character that you think is very strong and you swap to it. But, you know, off to a good start for 2D, finding some unarmed hits.
I mean, does he know how to play it, though? That's the real question.
Yeah, we actually have no clue. The level 7 would lead me to believe no. But as I said, he could have experience on legends that have these weapons that aren't Lin Fei, and that could be where his level
maybe Sidra.
And I mean, it's looking like he knows how to play this cannon right now. Already getting some good strings on the Tito. Tito responding with some strings of his own. This is already
actually really even
explosive game, and I mean, I gotta say about 2D's Lin Fei pick, he's already lived about 2 times the amount of time that he did on his first stock last game, so that's improvement. Oh my gosh, I've never seen these gravity cancel sidelights before on Qatars from Tito. I've never seen them on anyone, but I mean, like, Tito is being the first person to use them.
I don't know why. The way you said that, I thought it was hilarious. Anyway, Tito with the weapon snipe as well for the KO off that weapon snipe. That was such a high weapon throw. I didn't think that the velocity behind that weapon throw was actually going to end up with a KO. Maybe off of an edge guard follow-up after the throw, but I didn't think that by itself was going to do it. But either way, Tito doing an unbelievable job at showing that he's probably going to... I mean, he probably is already qualified at this point. I don't know if we need to keep going. 2D doing a pretty good job on the Lin Fei in this game number 2, but Tito is just something next level.
Oh, the double dunk!
Wow,
that's actually the double dunk.
Some insane stuff from Tito, and of course this is
I think 2D
fall, so they can't get back.
I think 2D maybe could have lived there if he didn't use the Nair, but thought Tito was gonna hit him on the edge, so it felt like he had to do some sort of move to catch him. Tito, is he gonna double 3 stock 2D?
This is when you Q twice into someone, an experimental Q.
It's actually, he's dead. He's dead.
Oh my gosh.
He's actually dead.
A perfect stock and a flawless 3. Oh, okay, not a flawless. He took some damage, but like a 3 stock.
Tito with easily the fastest and most dominant set of the day, earning his way into that
sorry,
top 8
2D,
winner's side.
that you had to experience that. That is...
Tito's cannon and Lin Fei in general is actually ridiculous. That was... I actually have no other words for that. Like, that was just clean play overall and insane combos from Tito. Like... Oh my lord. That he used, I think, a neutral light and then read that 2D wasn't gonna dodge, so he used a follow-up gravity cancel down light and then did dare and dare again. He just double dunked 2D off the stage, which
it's the
like
new slapper.
True comboed into itself. It didn't true combo, but it stringed into itself.
It's the new slapper. It used to be that the double or the triple slap, that was like the signature of Qatar's off stage. But now it's canon because it's just going to hit even harder. It covers more space. I mean, I think it's a little slower, but not by much.
You know, despite all of the like canon that we've been seeing today, there's actually a lot of diversity in this winner's side top 8. You got a Petra with Addy Mestic, got some Orb and Gauntlets. You got Machette playing the Zol, got some cannon. Tito also playing cannon, and then you have Heissen playing a very clean Asuri. And
I wish more people
the cannons aren't
put their
facing
legends
each other.
into the thing, so we knew who they were playing the whole time. But it's whatever.
The cannons aren't facing each other either. So I have to say that for tomorrow, Heissen versus Tito is going to be a insane match, considering how dominant both of those players were looking. But that's, as you said, or as I said as well, going to be all for our winners bracket matches, as everyone who qualified into the top 8 winners side has now played. And now we get into the lower bracket where we get to see some players that we haven't seen yet today, including our first match in the lower bracket, which is going to be Knees versus the Floater.
Knees we've seen quite often. I don't remember seeing Knees play Fate, maybe Scythe, but not Fate. So this might be
Yeah.
Something kind of new. I mean, it's level 15, so it's not. And Fate's been out a while, so someone who's been playing Fate for quite a while, I wouldn't expect to have a level 15 only. This level 15 to me says like been playing with it for about like a week and a half at the most,
And
like consistently.
Knees beat Cake to make it here, which is not only impressive, but he also did it, if match report is correct, or if character report is correct, which I think it is, he did it using Artemis, who, I mean, you know, I'm not rooting against you, Knees, but if you lose game 1, I wouldn't mind, because if it meant that you swapped to Artemis in an actual tournament set on stream, I would celebrate, because that character has no representation whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I can see why he would play the Artemis, considering his scythe already popping off onto the floater. I know nothing about the floater. I won't sugarcoat it. I know absolutely nothing about the floater. He actually made a run all the way from loser's side of pools, it looks like. Starting with beating TB and then beating Crossy Chainsaw, followed up by Jaku, who we saw on the stream not too long ago. So he has made a pretty substantial loser's bracket run up to this moment, utilizing these guitars.
I'm not gonna lie, the floaters kind of sounds like a Terraria enemy. So that's about the most I can say, because I don't think I've ever seen the floater before, unless this is a changed name. I don't think I recognize this player, but a lot of the EU players would probably recognize him more, because I mean, I don't think Steve or I play in the EU. I mean, if I do, then I sure as heck don't know it. But in the EU queues, either way, taking Knees. Take the first stock of the set against Knees after an especially strong start from Knees as well. It's definitely impressive already.
Yeah, the floater, and you can tell he is definitely, like, he mains guitars, because
yes,
we have seen nothing of his sword so far, and he is very deliberately sticking to the guitars. That was a great down air on this scythe to catch out the floater's guitar recovery. The angles matched up just perfectly, where the angle that the guitar recovery was coming up at was the same angle that Knees' scythe down air hit at, and Knees' just beat his out, like straight up priority.
Floater looking for the half pipe. It's not going to come out though. Knees with the orb options, really getting a lot more damage built up, and the Kirby Star Ride coming out into the neutral sig. Not a KO yet because of the high blast zones off the top. Oh, doesn't find the timing for the gravity cancel uppercut out of the down light, but that was that would have, I believe that would have been a KO, especially with the force that usually comes out.
Wait, you said he's looking for the half pipe. What is the half pipe?
The hype, you know, people call it dare loops, like the guitar dare loops nowadays. I still don't see it as a guitar dare loop, so I call it a half pipe.
Fair enough. I can see it, actually. You're just kind of sliding back and forth, up and down. But Knees, actually, an unfortunate SD from Floater ended his second stock when it was close, and, you know, whoever got the next hit was going to come out in a lead, and Floater just ended up suffering an SD, which means that Knees is now pulling way ahead with these orb combos, just zoning Floater out in this neutral game. Ooh, and the weapon throw from across the stage.
That's unfortunate.
And giving a heart. Floater giving a heart, whether that's to Knees, whether that's to the stream. I'd like to believe that it's to the casters, but that's probably incorrect. But whoever it's to, Floater just giving out a heart.
I mean, it definitely wasn't the Knees, because he did it backwards and it wasn't facing him at all, so you know it wasn't for him.
Hits him with the shotgun blast side signature. Coming out from Fate's scythe. Doing the little Russian dance on him in post game. I don't think I've actually ever seen that as the win taunt. That looks hilarious, not gonna lie.
Oh, Knees with the Artemis representation
it.
You were talking about. You were wondering if it was real or not. It's real.
This may very, very actually be the first time that I have ever seen Artemis on a tournament stream that is not a pools match. I'm not even joking. I've never seen it before.
I think this is at least the third time I've seen it.
Really?
Yeah, because I mean, there was a time where people were still like trying to play with. They were still like getting like Lance. Like people were still using Lance a little bit, and Scythe was like still really strong. Some of the Lance players, I think, were like
3, 2, 1.
testing the waters with Artemis to see if they could use it, but I don't think it really worked out too well.
Yeah, at the very least, we haven't seen the Artemis in a while. Rocking the Power Ranger skin. That straight up looks like the Pink Ranger. You can't tell me anything else.
All right. I mean, I was going to say something else, but you said I can't tell you anything else, so I won't.
Please don't.
Either way, Floater taking a lot of early damage from Knees' Lance play here. Going real exhausted with a lot of those really quick jumps. I wonder why he's jumping so much, but I guess he gets back, so he's not really getting punished. So that's whatever. Floater almost getting taken off stage. If that down air connected, that would have been a KO. Very, very early, and that would have been super devastating for Floater. But right now, Floater getting kind of pushed around, trying to keep the damage pretty even, but not able to find a lot of the bigger hits to get Knees into the red zone. Oh, I guess he's already got it. Get Floater into the red zone from Knees. That's what I meant. Anyway, the Scythe recovery coming out, not going to connect, and Floater looking for a KO. The recovery not going to connect as well. Knees looking for something to get Floater off balance. The neutral sig not going to find it either, but the neutral air from Floater, and there it is.
Only
the
on
stuff
Twilight.
on the stage, though.
This is the only stage where Knees lives that recovery, by the way.
Yep.
Because he hit against the wall of Twilight, and it saved him. Oh, no. Oh, Knees is so high damage. He should have already died once. He got a lease on life from that Twilight wall. Floater able to close out that stock, though. Take a slight lead going into Knees' second stock. And, you know, Knees pulling out the Lance. It should be said that Lance is considered pretty widely by most people as the weakest weapon in the game right now. Very few people can make Lance succeed at a competitive level. So, I mean, Knees has been doing a pretty good job of it so far and has almost been favoring the Lance over the Scythe. As I say that, though, he opts for taking the Scythe when he has the straight-up choice, which I think is a smart choice when the Floater is at straight-up white, because he might be able to find some strings to bring him closer towards his current damage color.
Well, you know, I think if you're at least trying to find a KO, if you're stuck with Lance, I think you're still going to have a pretty decent time, because a lot of the force from Lance is still pretty strong. So if you can find like a horizontal hitbox, especially on a map like this that has a closer blast zones on the sides, I think you'll still be really successful with Lance, as long as you don't get thrown off stage into a bad position.
And Knees keeps looking for these side signatures on the Scythe as a follow-up after Sidelight. He looked for another one as a follow-up after Downer that time. And I actually think he is completely in the right to be throwing these out, because as you see, Artemis actually, if there's one good part of Artemis, because it's not her weapon combo, and it's not her Sigs on Lance, it is her Sigs on Scythe.
Yes.
Because they are all extremely fast. They're like light attack territory of like cooldown, or what am I thinking, of recovery frames, and you can throw them out really fast and as follow-ups to your moves. It's a shame that none of them have hit so far, but he has been like applying pressure in neutral just by throwing them out and not getting punished by them. Oh my gosh, these Lance snares.
Neutral airs for days.
This is reminding me of the dark ages of Lance, honestly.
No deadly feet, though.
This is like very nerfed Lance snare as opposed to what it used to be, and Knees is still making it work. Ooh, nice cider.
He's still exhausted, though. Why are you going so deep?
I respect going for that. Even though there was no follow-up, he got guaranteed damage. And that cider that he got to save himself initially was actually the only way that he would have been able to live there, because he had no options left. He had to time the cider perfectly. And right now he's just looking for one or two more good hits. I don't think any of the Lance signatures will do it, honestly. Her Lance signatures are pretty bad, unless it's the laser beam out of the visor that he's shooting, which I feel like he wants. Ooh.
Nah, if he gets Lance back and kills him with the I want to see him. I want to see him find a KO with the neutral sig on the Lance, because that's the live and learn, where it starts out like playing the same sound from Live and Learn from Sonic Adventure 2.
That is the weirdest observation I have ever heard about a signature in Brawlhalla. The Scythe down signature shooting out the orb, even though this character doesn't have orb and was released before orb was even a thing. Probably before orb. It was even a concept. Artemis was the original orb, finally finding himself a Scythe signature, closing out that set, and moving himself into just being one more game away from making top 8 in the lower bracket side. Great stuff by Knees, pulling out a low representation character. I respect it so much, honestly.
And we might see Knees again go up against Simple. So we might see that Artemis come back, and that would be pretty interesting to see, because I mean, I don't think we can get enough of Artemis. If he's playing Artemis to like a successful level, I think that's actually very interesting. So I'd love to see more of Knees moving on. But right now we do have Machette versus 0-0 on the Mirage pick on one of the coolest skins in the game, especially with like the Scythe. I mean, he doesn't have the Scythe skin on, but it's like easily one of my favorite Scythe skins.
And we haven't seen 0 yet today. We have seen Machette. Unfortunately, his only set was a loss to Addy Mestic, I believe. But I mean, Addy made top 8 winners, so that's not to say that Machette is in a bad situation here. He lost to a very good player. 0 also a very good player, though I haven't seen anything of him recently. I just remember, in my mind, he's more of a guitar player, but I feel like I've seen the Scythe coming out from him as well. So the Mirage, an interesting underutilized pick overall in the recent meta. We haven't really been seeing a lot of Mirage. If it's a Scythe Legend, oh my lord. He just sent him down to the Shadow Realm. That move actually sends you to the Shadow Realm because it is so linear, but when it hits, it has ridiculous amounts of force.
Yep. It's got a wide hitbox too, so especially when you're trying to get someone off on the wall, off stage, it's a very good option. I mean, it's not as wide as, Spear. Ooh, very nice egg drop.
Yeah, that was a very fast egg drop. Like that just looked clean in general. And I mean, clearly I was wrong about the whole guitars thing, because 0 has a gold forged spear and a gold forged scythe, which I don't even want to think about how much glory those cost to get those two together, honestly.
It depends on what other gold forged and silver forged 0 has.
Yeah,
but if this is all he's got, then that's understandable, because he's been working on it for quite a while. If not, that's a lot of dedication right there.
That definitely shows devotion to your character, the fact that he has gold forge on both weapons, but getting a little too sidetracked by the shiny things, I think, myself. But, wow, okay. It should actually just landed that raw.
I mean, you throw it out, they're trying to get back on the stage, the neutral state comes out, it covers the high option. It's very, very strong option for a player to use. I mean, this is something that Olgrim's kind of always had as one of his really good options for some of his signatures. Not maybe on Lance as much as Axe, but Axe for certain. Like the down sig, I think even like ever since Olgrim came out, that was a strong option, even when he wasn't even good. In the neutral sig now, having a little bit more force since, like a lot more force since then, it's just a great option to get people off stage, trying to get back on the recovery in a similar fashion to how people use something like whoa, very, very opportunistic pick there from Machette to take 0 off the side after 0 missed the gravity cancel. Very insane opportunistic turnaround. That's what we see normally out of players who try to get taken off the top and they do some kind of like blaster's reversal with recovery, but that was completely unexpected. That was a very, very nice pick from Machette to finish that game.
Lance players, take note. I had no idea you could punish Lance like that, honestly. I had no idea you could punish Scythe like that for going off stage by just dodging through it and then hitting a side air. And even if that side air missed, I'm pretty sure Ishit was still alive, which is the great part about Lance. And Ishit's playstyle is super unique. I mean, his character choice is Olgrim, so that's already about as unique as you get. Very few players make Olgrim work at a competitive level. Doppy can do it, Isidore can do it, that's about it. Definitely not like a pick that you see in EU. EU players tend to favor other Lance Legends, other Lance Legend and other Axe Legend, if anything. And see, I wasn't completely wrong. 0 is a Asuri Katars player. I knew it.
Yes.
He switched to the Asuri since that first game didn't go too well for him. Just wasn't feeling the Mirage, wasn't feeling either weapon, so went it with a full-on switch. And so far, this is starting off well for him. Oh, actually missed that recovery follow-up. I think maybe if he jumped before doing that recovery. It might have been true. I'm not certain though.
Wow, very nice play from Machette.
Wow, those weapon throws actually just one after another. It didn't even feel like Zero was in danger of dying until he was just suddenly dead.
That's kind of how it works too, isn't it? Like you just get hit and then you're dying and then you're dead. That's just that's Brawlhalla in a nutshell. I think we can go home now.
Yeah, I think we perfectly summarized everything. Zero, oh my god, these guitar strings. He is looking like a different player than last game on Asuri. He definitely looks a lot more comfortable.
This is definitely his home state, where Zero using sword, using guitars. This is what we've seen him using for the longest time, especially when he was really coming up in the scene, placing in like a few top threes in the early set of Zero's competitive career. Machette though, doing a fantastic job at utilizing the Ulgrim, and like you said, I don't think we've really ever seen Ulgrim from the EU side. There's probably people who play EU who would know or remember better if there were really notable Ulgrim players, but I can't off the top of my head think of any.
Yeah, and on the other hand, you know, Asuri, we've been seeing Heissen's Asuri, Blue's Asuri, and I think Zero's Asuri is the third today. Of course, there are a lot of globally high-rated Asuri players. Asuri is kind of a gold standard for competitive play. Having the sword and the guitars has the perfect combo of string-based weapon and consistent combos with the sword, as well as good kill options. Asuri kind of covers her own faults with her weapon combo. And I think that's why we see so many players using her. And right now it's working out great for Zero. Even though that stock just got taken out from him by Machette, he has a slight lead over Machette. And one or two good combos on guitars could close this game out. Machette, on the other hand, looking to gain momentum with the land. Zero off stage right now. He goes for the ground run, and Zero somehow actually just lost his recovery options.
They went to the ether.
What
That's what happens when you go off stage and shipwreck. You just lose all your recovery options. You're off stage, you're dead. That's how it works. You get one jump or recovery. It's one or the other.
That was a very sad end. I feel bad about that. I mean, like, I'm happy that Machette won. I'm very happy for Machette. Machette's playstyle is fun to watch. I can't wait to watch more of it. But for Zero, that has got to be a tragic end, especially considering the kind of lead that he was keeping in the middle of the game. It just, you know, I don't know. It kind of just fell apart at the end there.
And, you know, sometimes it happens like that. Not every game is going to be, you know, super intense on edge, off stage, dodge circles. But yeah, that's how it is. Machette taking the win, 2 down. More to go tomorrow as he moves. No, wait, that was not the qualifier tomorrow. He has to go up against Agzo still. So there's only 4 games left. Okay. So he does make it to the qualifier, not for the top 8. So who we have coming up? Simple and Knees, who we just saw beat the floater. We have Blue and Hermiston, Agzo and Machette, and 2D and Fozy getting ready to figure out who's going to be qualifying into tomorrow. So jeez. I know you guys have all of your picks on who you want to see tomorrow. You can see it in the chat if you want to let us know. But we will be seeing, I believe, Blue and Hermiston first.
Man, I just like this losers bracket is full of killers, dude. Like, that's not to say that the players in the winners bracket aren't fantastic, because I think obviously like all 4 of the players who are sitting in the winners bracket have been looking extremely scary. But like Blue, Hermiston, Agzo, Simple, Knees, all 5 of those players are like top 8 frequenters and like players that you expect to see in the upper echelons of the tournament brackets. And since Simple and Knees are going head to head and Blue and Hermiston are going head to head, a guaranteed only like at max 3 of those 5 players are going to be making it to the top 8. And that's just crazy to me. Like, that's crazy to think that 2 of those players out of what I just said are getting 9th.
Yep. And that's how it is, especially in a tournament like this right now where you have so many players making like big comebacks. Like we didn't see a lot from Addy for quite a while, and now he's looking extremely strong. Tito just being completely nutty with the Lin Fei right now, and Machette just really able to show his stuff with the Zol picks. A lot of these players, I mean, we were seeing they were usually the ones having to make those lower bracket runs, but with the recent changes, I think with how new everything feels in terms of like some of the lesser used weapons getting big buffs, I think, and this is why we're seeing Blue pick Zol right now rather than Qatar's. This is a little bit of a difference from what we've seen before. We're going to see a lot more success out of some people that we haven't seen make really big top bracket runs in quite a while.
And I think I saw Blue say something along the lines of, screw it, I'm just going to play Cannon. After watching multiple Cannon players succeed in the winner's bracket. And, you know, for a top player like Blue, I don't think that's necessarily a bad move. You know, generally when you frequent these top 8s and these top 3s like Blue does, even top 1s for Blue, you know, he's won his fair share of tournaments. Your neutral game is strong enough to where you can pretty much play whatever you want at a high level, especially if that pick is like very meta at the time. Oh my gosh, that Dare was great. Old Dare would have instantly killed there, but New Dare, he actually needed a second one in order to close it out. But he does do a good job of closing it out on Hermiston. Hermiston is actually picking the Ragnar, which is a pick that we didn't see him use at all in the winner's bracket.
Hermiston now trying to get the KO on the Blue, gets the snapback KO. So he's got the evened up stocks. It's 2-2 right now, freshened up everything, like just under 7 minutes. So a minute has passed. It's all even. Blue now with the axe is going to try to get a little bit more damage here. Now, of course, playing Zol, it's going to be a huge build up here if you can land anything. But Hermiston trying to get a little bit of disruption with the Qatars. He can get in really quickly and just manages barely to dodge right through the trap signature from Blue. So a very nice play from Hermiston right now. And avoiding a little bit more of the axe attacks getting thrown out from Blue. But the throw off stage going to create a little bit more pressure. The ground pound again, and second one not going to connect as well as Hermiston makes his way back into the center of the stage and avoids the sig again.
You know, and I actually think it shouldn't be too surprising to see... wow, the double slap. Slap. What I was going to say is it shouldn't be too surprising to see Blue's axe doing as well as it is, considering the fact that I'm pretty sure he has a Ragnar in his back pocket, as every EU player does. So he definitely has some experience on that axe.
Yeah, I think most players in general have a little experience with Ragnar, considering how popular he's been for the last 2 years or so, as just a very consistent pick in terms of edge guarding, Qatar strength, and just in general stats.
His signatures are also great, which is why I think a lot of people like to pick him.
Exactly.
You know, with Qatars, you usually need a stable signature kit to back you up because they're not always the most consistent with finding kills. Oh, the double nair, almost the triple nair. Nair is so fast, and they can catch your opponents off guard like that. Blue just narrowly missing the dare, and Hermiston found his dodge, getting a lot of damage. It just keeps going. Now a down light looking for the dodge. If he would have found the dodge there correctly, he might have actually taken the stock. But now he's switching over to the axe to try to find this stock. One side sig, end sig, or maybe even a Sair could do it. We'll probably need 2 Sairs actually. But any of those signatures
or a side sig. If he throws a side sig out, especially aerial, it'll cover more space. Blue trying to make his way back.
Wait, he's actually... I thought he was dead.
He had one more jump. Or one more recovery option, I should say.
There it was. He threw out the side sig like you were talking about. It didn't land, though. Ooh, that was such a clean read, actually. That was like... He didn't actually... Like, you can do that on reaction sometimes. Like, catching their movement out of your Qatar enter light. But he actually just read it. Like, he knew where Blue was going to go.
That's kind of what you have to know when you play Qatars, though. Is you have to have that recovery read for those KOs, so you have to know how people are going to dodge. I mean, what some people do is they'll go into the training room and just set random dodges on NPCs so that they can try to figure out how to read every single situation on different timings and stuff. But that's just I don't know if Hermiston does that, but
Yeah.
that is one of those things you got to kind of be aware of, especially with guitars, is you have to know how to follow up, especially with the recovery, because if you miss it, that's a lot of damage and potentially a game-winning situation that you can lose out on.
All right, and here comes the fake coming out from blue. Same skin and color as Tito. Maybe trying to, summon the spirit of Tito into his own body so that he can make this top 8 with cannon.
Tito was the one to drop Hermiston into lower bracket, so this is some real mind games coming from blue right now, trying to make Hermiston think he's playing against Tito.
That's true.
And someone and literally think, oh wait, shoot, this is someone else. Oh god, I gotta change my playstyle.
Yeah, the only other step would be if blue just left the lobby and he's be right back, and then he comes back with a name that begins with ERT. So if Hermiston has name tags on, he just sees ERT above blue's name, and it's just completely indistinguishable.
Super quick makes a new clan too, actually blue. So that there's no real confusion. Well, I mean, there's still gonna be confusion, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, Hermiston actually lost his stock first. Blue already coming out swinging with this cannon. That's going to be a big conversion. Oh, I actually thought he was going to be able to find that Sair. He wasn't, though. Hermiston got his dodge back just in time, prevented him from taking a lot of damage there. Hermiston looking for the axe Sair to try to close out blue stock as soon as possible. If this stock goes on any longer for blue, it could be detrimental for Hermiston, but he does end up just finding the side air, bringing it a little bit more within the realm of possibility for Hermiston to make this comeback. Blue did indeed have a very strong start, so Hermiston is going to have to play very methodically, as he's doing right now with his guitar punishes, just waiting for blue to make a move and responding perfectly to every single approach.
Well, Hermiston being as deep into the red as he is, this is going to be a very difficult situation for him to get out of, especially because blue having so many strong options in the Lin Fei, being one of the strongest cannon characters in the game, if not the strongest, having very strong signature options even on the guitars, and almost landing the side sig, where that would have been a guaranteed KO on that second stock. But Hermiston now, no weapon. It's going to be a very difficult situation to get back from. But finding that axe, a little bit more damage, a little bit of movement disruption, if you can throw him off stage, might be something to throw blue off his game for just a split second. But he's playing really carefully. He's got that movement in tow. Those dodges are very well timed as well. He's found that KO off the top, the recovery, very quickly, very succinctly, slowing down his play. That's exactly what he needed to get Hermiston off that successful high horse that he's been on this whole time, throwing blue for a loop.
Yeah, and Hermiston needs to find this stock soon, or else it's going to get a little too far gone for him. Blue already starting to find some strength and some damage. That's going to be a side air into side light. Hermiston already put into the orange. Cannon just racks up damage so fast. And Hermiston just throwing out a raw ground pound on the stage. Maybe just trying to bait blue into coming a little closer, but right now he just can't find his opening. Blue is building this lead a little too far. And that's going to be a down light into Nair. Woo! Wraps around and does the recovery. One more hit, whether that's going to be a neutral signature or whatever it may be, will close it out for blue. That Nair, I actually cannot believe that Nair hit. Hermiston does find the axe there, really, but he is going to need to hard cheese blue or play absolutely perfectly to win this game, because he cannot take a single hit.
It's Miami Dome too, so the potential for a side, like an unarmed side air, maybe could be a finisher move, especially blue on cannon. A side air is a guaranteed KO. And there are a few different ways to get that out.
Wait, this is what he has to do?
No, not yet. He still has a lot of recovery options, especially off stage, when cannon can just side air back to stage without using any of those recovery options. He was... and also this is blue, who keeps his composure under every single situation. There's the down sig.
Oh my gosh,
Gravity
blue is
cancel.
just finding the only
reason that didn't KO
kill.
is because that was a wall bounce. That was a floor bounce.
Blue is finding all the moves that don't kill. There it is, finally the Nair. Blue finds it. It took a little bit, but he ended up finding it. That match ran on, I'm sure, a lot longer than blue actually wanted it to. He had a pretty solid lead.
In the chat afterwards, he said 3 minutes left, Pog champ.
That's just a I feel like that's kind of how it goes. Like, if I'm Hermiston and I'm that far down, I'm not really trying to take risks because one hit instantly eliminates any chance of me winning the game. So, I mean, both of them were playing pretty defensively, not wanting to drop the game. Of course, if Blue lost that game, that would have meant that he was out of the tournament. And now that Hermiston actually lost the game, we are now going to a game 3, the final game of the series.
Elimination on the line. This is where Blue and Hermiston cannot afford anything because this is the qualification for tomorrow's top 8. This is everything that they have been working for this entire tournament. Being on the lower side of the bracket makes it that much harder. Blue and Hermiston, though, given that they're all at this point and they have to play very carefully. You see them not like overextending, throwing out attacks, trying to bait those hitboxes. They bait dodges too hard because they know if they make one mistake, especially considering the weapons that they're holding on to with the new buffed cannon and guitars that just punish dodges anyways. They can't afford any mistakes.
Yeah. I mean, like, actually right now, Blue is just, like, dashing back and forth. You can't find anything onto Hermiston. And for Hermiston, you know, Hermiston a great player in his own right. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that Hermiston is a great player. But I feel like defeating Blue is a very good thing to be able to put on your list of recent achievements. Because Blue has been on the top of his game. Yeah, put it on his resume.
Under work experience, defeated Blue in an EU tournament.
Blue has been on the top of his game recently. As EU's strongest, EU's highest power ranked. And Hermiston, you know, he's been there, but he hasn't been in, you know, the top 3 most recently.
He's been good, but he hasn't been consistently in the final, final 3. Yeah. So this is something. This is definitely something for Hermiston to potentially be able to take a notch on his belt, especially after Blue coming off some pretty insane sets from LTC this past weekend.
Was Blue at LTC?
I thought you said. Did you say he was?
No, it's CEO I was talking about. Which was
CEO.
Pretty
I think you said LTC, and that threw me off a little because I wasn't at LTC, so that threw me off a bit.
I don't think Blue was at LTC. He was at CEO though, as was Hermiston.
Mm-hmm.
So they both got plenty of recent placements. Ooh, I love that Blue just went for that side air into Nair off of the wall. He's just gonna end up finding the Nair though. Hermiston has himself a sizable lead at the moment, but anything can happen when someone's on the fade. And that's all I got to say. I mean, he's got guitars, he's got cannon. He can rack up damage so fast.
It's very strong options either way you cut it. Lin Fei is just a very, very powerful character. And, I mean, kind of deserving after some time because Lin Fei has been kind of in the dirt for the longest time as a character who people just have never wanted to touch. In a similar vein to maybe Isaiah, which I actually thought we would be seeing a little bit of today, but I guess maybe not. Maybe people just aren't as comfortable with blasters in EU anymore, especially with the way the new buffs have shaped up, or maybe they just haven't discovered Isaiah yet. Who knows? But either way, Hermiston is taking a ton of cannon damage right now from Blue, and it is added up to the point where he is easily in the kill point on Twilight right now.
He almost actually landed that. A great dodge from Hermiston. No really like explosive plays coming out from either player. It's kind of just like a tug of war match between them. Just like hitting each other back and forth, building up damage, and they pretty much kept the damage even between them two for the entire game so far. Just hit after hit after hit after hit.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes, you know, you don't need those big strings and exciting volley back and forths with like wake up gravity cancel attacks. Sometimes all you need is to be a very careful, calculating, methodical player in terms of your approaches and your move selection, because in the end of the day, what matters most is not taking as much damage as you deal out so that you can, you know, throw your opponent every single time you hit him with an attack. Getting that damage buildup is so important, and I think they both recognize that here in this set, where they're both playing weapons that hit really hard. You just need those singular hits over time.
Not the highest force on Lin Fei, but you know, her weapons do more than enough for her to be able to circumvent that kind of disadvantage and turn it into an advantage since she gets to put those points into other skills. Ooh, Hermiston has Blue off stage. He was looking for a gimp there.
Uh-oh.
Blue has him on the ropes right now, though.
Side air onto Hermiston would be devastating at this point, especially with the close blast ones on the right. Side air into, whoa, that lack of recovery frame was kind of scary right there. He just landed straight out of the side air into the neutral light.
Oh, a recovery.
Immediately.
Blue can't touch the ground.
Hermiston making the approach onto Blue. The side light coming out. No, not going to come out. Very careful players right now. Not even risking a single attack. Oh, but there's the neutral light right there going to the down air. Not going to connect. Blue coming back up on the left side. On the right side, Blue looking for the connection. Not going to find it. There's the recovery off the top, and Blue is finally going to take Hermiston down in a very long, grueling match between the two. This is that went down to game number 3. Blue just barely eking it out at the end. Very close in the damage. I'm pretty sure that 42 damage difference between the two was that recovery at the end. It has to be.
Yeah.
So, Blue moving on to the next, moving on to the top 8. He actually qualified. It was kind of touch and go there for a bit, but he did it.
I don't think Twilight did Hermiston any favors there. I felt like a lot of the time he got stuck in the impossible position of being on that right island and having no choice but to approach cannon from above, which you really just don't want to do. Like cannon nair, cannon recovery, and Lin Fei's neutral signature are all extremely strong moves for juggling you and keeping you in the air. And I feel like Hermiston took most of the deciding damage between those two when he was kind of stuck on that right side. It looks like our next 2 players are already ready to hop right into it. We got Fozy and 2D. We saw 2D take a very unfortunate loss to Tito before. That
one of
set
the most
isn't to be
decisive
talked
sets
about.
I've ever seen.
And Fozy, maybe using that mental game that we were talking about earlier, trying to, remind 2D of his match versus Tito by playing the Lin Fei himself.
If he can play with the exact same ferocity as Tito in a similar manner, maybe he can kind of trigger something in 2D to get that fear in his eyes where Fozy can just control the battlefield. But we'll find out because he's coming in from the lower bracket. Of course, if he had that same ferocity that Tito had, we'd probably be seeing him in the upper bracket. But that's all speculation. We haven't seen Fozy yet today. 2D we have seen in the past and today, and a very solid Koji player. So we'll see how he fares against Fozy on Brawlhaven. And very unusual, Fozy playing very reserved for playing on Brawlhaven.
Jeez. Maybe this is just something that we don't do in NA and we need to start doing. These gravity cancel sidelights are something that I've been seeing a lot of Qatar players use today in Europe, and I'm loving how it shakes out, giving them so much extra damage. That was an amazing Qatar down sig by Fozy.
It was the perfect situation for him to use it too. That sig flourishes off stage in the edgeguard situation. When you throw it from the on stage, you get that little bit of drift there as well to get the extra momentum off stage. Fozy?
I have no clue what's happening right now.
You just stop playing and take a drink of water? I'm so confused. But there goes again with the sig 2D. I can't get over that. That was actually so funny. 2D missed 3 attacks in a row on Fozy. He was just standing still. Anyway, Fozy making his way back to the center of the stage. 2D right now trying to get a little bit of damage from the center, looking for some of those neutral lights. And Fozy just avoiding some of these hits so far. Ooh. Very nice follow-up, though, from 2D from the down lane to the side air. And even up the stocks, he's got a little bit of damage to come back from, but he's got the advantage right now, and the potential is all his.
I think 2D looks a lot more comfortable right now. I think, his strategy of using these bow hitboxes to create a wall that Fozy can't get in on is a good strategy to use versus Lin Fei, where when she gets on top of you with either Katars or Cannon, you're taking tons of damage. So 2D's solution to that problem is just don't let her get on top of you. Always keep this kind of bubble around yourself. and it's been working pretty well since he started doing it after the first stock. Already remade the deficit that he had, and only one good hit away from actually taking the lead in this set. Probably going to look for a down sig, I was going to say, but Fozy actually finds his side signature on the guitars for himself. That sig is great. It's been given plenty of mileage for the Lin Fei players today, and given yet another KO to Fozy. There is the
nice
gravity cancel sidelight again. Wow, he just took 2D straight to orange. 2D finds a relatively quick kill with the sword, but even so, he took so much damage so fast that stock that he's at a pretty big deficit going into this final stock.
I suppose there's a relatively new combo string extender from Qatars. That's a pretty solid way to do it. Getting the gravity cancel sidelight to extend your range and get a very little bit of forced knockback so you can follow back up with something else is a pretty interesting option. The more we see it, the more I like it. And I liked it to start. So it's very interesting to see people continue to use that. Fozy, with the cannon, though, he's got the potential for the edge guards. 2D's going to have to make his way back up. Neutral light, all it really needs is a dash neutral light. And finds that KO onto 2D, takes the fall. Game number 1 out of the way. 2D is been put on the back foot like for the entire time, it seems.
Yeah, he's on his tournament life right now, and I don't know how I feel about this, because before he selected the Hattori, I was gonna say I felt like his bow was really the only thing that he was working, like that was working for him. His sword wasn't really getting as much mileage, it felt like. So maybe he could switch to, a different bow legend who doesn't have the sword, one that he's more comfortable with. But instead, he actually opted to keep the sword and ditch the bow and end himself up with the Hattori, which, in all fairness, I think Spear is, pretty reasonable to play versus Cannon. As I've stated before, I think it's a decent matchup, and I think that's probably what 2D is looking for here. And Spear is also historically known as something that's pretty good into Qatars, since you can kind of zone them out before they can get into your space.
Yeah, and having a little bit of that extra range is going to help quite a bit, especially against the Qatars. However, those signature moves can be very vicious. Fozy looking for a third recovery. Not going to find it, though, as Fozy goes to the wall, kind of retreats a little bit. As 2D now dash dances on the edge guard situation, still avoiding some of those edge guard attacks from Fozy as well. But the attacks from 2D knocking the Qatars away, in another down air. No, it's going to be the ground pound from 2D that is going to find the KO, and he's going to take the lead in the set. And it looks like this Spear pick is going to do some pretty good work for him so far.
Yeah, I doubted it, but he's getting a lot of mileage out of the Spear. I still don't think the sword is what's doing it for him, but I think switching the secondary weapon and keeping the sword to kind of find those kill options if he needs to fall back on it is a good strategy here.
Was he looking for an approach with the Qatars right now, but 2D covering the center of the stage pretty nicely. That map control can go a long way, especially for sword. Fozy finding the dash ground pound. A lot of those, especially with how fast Qatars ground pound is, can be kind of unreactable if you're not ready for it. Like if you're not expecting it to come out and you're ready to fall off the stage at a moment's notice, that can be pretty devastating for quite a few people. Either way, Fozy with and 2D in those second stocks, Fozy in the red, so 2D has a little bit of an advantage right now if he's a little bit careful with his stock. As long as he finds side airs a little bit, any attacks that have any sort of good force knockback.
Ooh, there it is. Yeah.
There it is.
It barely killed.
Like you said.
It actually barely
killed,
but
even if it did,
on Brawlhaven, went on Brawlhaven.
Even if it didn't, though, that he would have still been in a very good position.
Oh, double downlights there every time you catch their dodge. Oh, 2D in some danger now, though. That was a great dodge up. If he would have dodged into the wall, like I'm sure many other players would have done, Fozy was reading that. But 2D, honestly, another double downlight. I try saying that 5 times fast. Jesus.
Double downlight. That's not that bad. Fozy, though, making his way back to the stage, no weapon, and this is where things get a little bit dangerous, especially when 2D's got that sword. He's got some better options here for the KO. That neutral sig, always a dangerous one. Oh, the range from the cannon side sig, and those active frames as well, becoming a very dangerous situation for 2D to deal with. And he's going to have to deal with a few more of them, although it looks like Fozy really likes holding on to the guitars way more than the cannon. Either way, some of the best guitars right now to use, especially when you got the cannon in the background, that half pipe coming out, a little bit of damage, and the 2D chasing down off stage. He's got the opportunity to find the KO here, especially with how much damage Fozy has built up.
And Hattori has some really good tools for ending up finding that KO on the spear. Anything else would have killed there, 2D.
Literally anything else.
Yeah,
a side stick, a down stick, if you're worried about the hitbox.
I'm pretty sure a neutral light would have killed there. If he loses because of that, that's going to be so sad. 2D perhaps starting to get a little nervous. There's the neutral light that I was saying would kill it. Hey, I think I was right.
That could have been so much worse, because if he did end up losing it, he was out. That was it.
Yeah.
That one mistake where he didn't throw out a sig to punish could have cost him his entire tournament run.
If 2D can maintain play like he had for the first half of that match, I think he's going to be in a really good spot versus Fozy. But otherwise, Fozy was actually starting to, it felt like, catch on a little bit versus what 2D was doing at the end there. I think 2D is probably best off sticking to that spear that was giving him so much mileage. Whereas Fozy, I feel like the guitars have been working really well for him. And I haven't seen him pull out the cannon in a little bit. Maybe Fozy is a guitar player who has been making the switch over to Lin Fei since she became so popular, and cannon has kind of become the meta.
That's kind of been my thought so far. A lot of players switching to Lin Fei in general, whether they're guitar players or not really, like we saw in the case of Hermiston. So, or not Hermiston,
okay.
In the case of Blue.
Okay.
And 2D, we got a staring contest right now, testing out the network connection, running up. Just no emotes.
Fozy wins. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Fozy winning that initial exchange where they were both standing still, gotta be a big mental advantage for him. He's already off to an early start.
Already, those kind of differences, maybe they can make a difference. But the stare down, the stare contest. I don't know. It happens sometimes. I don't know. I just blew my nose during that whole situation, so got that out of the way. 2D with the spear, though, and Fozy trying to make the approach, going for the ground pound. Not going to find a 2D coming back. Not finding that recovery either off of the downlight, and that is going to give him a little bit of trouble. But he has Fozy off stage, and the ground pound and the down air is going to be a huge advantage for him as long as he can expand this stock advantage any length, which he already is doing. And look at this, looking so good right now. 2D getting so much damage on the Fozy right now, and Fozy having no land to stand on. Literally hasn't touched the stage until literally just this second. So Fozy, get thrown for a literal loop here.
Yeah, 2D. Ever since he found that sword gimp at the beginning of the match, it just hasn't been the same. I say beginning, but it was really, it was a good minute in, but it felt like the beginning because they were just trading back and forth, and everything was pretty even until that happened. And from that point on, it felt like 2D, something sort of like just awakened within him, and he's been playing very strong ever since on this spear.
2D looking for the edge guard right now. Maybe an A drop. No, going for the ground pound. Going to get punished out of it from the recovery, but just a little bit of the tip from the recovery, so it's not going to be too much damage, especially early on in the stock like 2D is right now. But the recovery off the top, that's going to be a KO, putting Fozy into that last stock right now, and this is a dangerous situation. This is game number 3, of course. Tournament life on the line for both of these players. And Fozy, with that elimination on the table, is he going to be changing up his playstyle? It looks like he is, playing very, very defensively. And 2D more than happy to make that approach. That dash neutral light and going for another neutral air, not going to connect it as well. Fozy making the approach and still not able to find anything too meaningful. The web throw for the jump read not connecting, and that is a big loss on the cannon.
Yeah, and he can't get anything substantial going. On Lin Fei, you need to find those reads. You need to find those combos in order for the character to look at its best. And right now, Fozy just isn't finding that, and I feel like 2D is kind of exposing what few faults Lin Fei has, but they are exploitable, and 2D is showing how to do it.
Fozy just barely making that avoidance. Yeah. I mean, the cloud, it has its benefits and it's got its moments, but that was definitely
That was not one of its moments.
Like a raw trying to read your opponent moving right in, but there you go. Get the neutral sig in, got the pop off the top, and 2D taking this down in a big comeback against Fozy, taking that win, moving on, qualifying for the top 8 tomorrow. That's going to be the end of that set. And we have one more set to follow, Simple and Knees.
I just want to say 2 things. First off, great mental fortitude by 2D. Lost 3 straight games, like brutal games against Lin Fei players, and then ended up still winning the set. So, I mean, props to him. And second off, unfortunately off stream, Agzo had to DQ himself versus Ishet. So that does mean congratulations to Ishet for making it into the top 8. We'll be seeing more of him tomorrow. And as you said, that does mean that our last game of the day is Knees versus Simple.
And that is going to be a pretty interesting one. We've seen Knees and Simple both play. We saw Simple get absolutely crushed by Addy Messick earlier. So we'll see him have his opportunity for retribution right now against Knees, who is probably going to pull out the Artemis at some point if he's feeling comfortable enough with it. That being said, Simple has the... or is that Knees? That's Simple. I can't see through the chat box in the bottom
Knees
corner.
Picking what, a third new character?
The Sidra on Simple, I think, is going to be an interesting pick for him to pull out here, and going with the Ragnar. Knees on something completely different than what he's been playing. He started the last set he played against the Floater with Fate. He has the last couple games playing Artemis, and now he's doing a complete swap to Ragnar. Never a bad pick, but kind of an unusual one considering the situation.
Yeah, it must be matchup preference. Knees must have, like, I mean, clearly there are plenty of candid players in Europe to practice against, and Knees has, like, played games against them, and he said, you know what, I think Ragnar is the best pick for me in this matchup. And if not, then maybe, you know, Knees is one of those players. I completely understand what this is like because I'm one of these players as well, where whatever you're feeling at a certain moment in time, just play it. Because you are going to play best on whatever you're feeling good on. And maybe Ragnar is what's feeling good for Knees right now.
I feel like that saying is hasn't been more true for anyone than Knees in this tournament, who has pulled out some of the most underutilized legends recently.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not counting Ragnar. Every other pick, though, yes.
That's the Daiku Ragnar right there. Call back to BCX 2016. That's the Daiku skin. Mecha Ragnar with the Skyforged. Beautiful.
I mean, that's, you know, that's how it works sometimes. You just pull out, you pulled out the old gold. Doesn't matter how old it is, it's still good. Either way, Simple, trying to get some unarmed play in, but Knees just playing around it completely. Some ground pounds coming out, some down airs. There's the side air. Not going to be enough to find the KO, but going off stage, another down air, 2 down airs, a recovery, a side air. Nothing connecting right now, but one hit is really all he needs. All he needs is to connect one axe. It gets hit out of the side sig. He is just really impatient with these attacks. Finally finds a side air onto Simple, and that is going to be the first KO of the match, but not after Simple was able to get, you know, a few more hits, a little bit more damage into the mix, and Knees now with the guitar is trying to get a little bit more damage, but Simple just, he's got to find something here to bring it back. He's been pushed around for too long.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember what character Simple played in the winner's bracket, because the sitter definitely does not ring a bell, and so far Simple hasn't been looking the most comfortable on this pick. Out of all the picks that I've seen him play in the past, Knees is just looking super strong with this Ragnar right now. Almost about to take a 2-stock lead if he finds this KO on Simple soon. Ooh, that is the Sayer. Got him off stage. Knees actually going really low. I respect really going for that by Simple, because that is almost never going to get you punished unless the opponent knows that you're looking for it. And a great high side air. That's why you don't go high versus Sword. Knees has learned the hard way why you shouldn't go high versus Simple. I
don't think you go high against Sidra in general. Sword and Cannon both do very well in that vertical game.
Ooh, nice stare.
Knees going for that, finds a very consistent KO option there off stage. Stuffs out the jump opportunities there to just end that stock, and now Knees looking for this game 1 win as fast as possible. Got those guitars, maybe looking for a little bit of a a gravity cancel. He threw it out. Was dodged though, so the timing wasn't quite there. But he's got all of the momentum in this game so far.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like Simple can get anything going for him right now. It feels like he's been behind the whole game. It feels like he's always playing from a disadvantage, and that's never a good place to be, just momentum-wise. In a set where it's only three games maximum, you know, we're only in a best of 3. It only takes one match to put you on your last leg in the tournament. Like, if he loses this match, Simple is gonna. Oh,
no.
That's a critical mistake.
That's a really bad situation.
That is
gonna
critical
be a KO.
mistake from Knees.
Go overextending so hard with the ground pound, and then using the recovery like almost right afterwards. Just
and now
all the recovery
Simple's getting it going
off the table.
You know, guitar players, I'm gonna just say it. Guitar ground pound is a bait, dude. Don't use it. You have so many better moves on guitars to use. Guitar ground pound, I feel like it gets you killed more often than not.
Honestly, I would agree. I don't think it has a lot of force behind it.
Oh.
It's the fastest, but even if you find a hit, it's not as punishing as you might want it to be.
Knees did his side air in the wrong direction, and now he's actually Simple has brought this back.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh! All because of one mistake. Knees just
not
lost
picking
all
Artemis
of
at
his
the beginning.
momentum.
That's the mistake.
Yeah, I mean seriously. No, that guitar ground pound kind of screwed him over in the end. Great play by Simple to bring it back. His sword looking clean. The cannon a little to be desired, which I think is why we're seeing him swap over to the Bodvar to keep that sword that he pretty much clutched that game with. And there it is, the pink Ranger, Knees coming out.
Like, all right, that was actually really funny. Toast in production just came in, just to say, just to us, just to Steve and I, that this skin is the most disgusting skin in Brawlhalla in this color
I think
and
it
skin
looks
combination.
nice. I think it looks nice.
I think it looks fine. I think Toast is being a little biased here, but I thought that was just real funny. Just had to share that one. Anyway, Simple and Knees, game number 2, getting started off right. Simple coming off a real big comeback victory in game number 1, and if he can hold on to some of that momentum coming into the next game, this is going to carry him all the way into the top 8. Knees, 1 game left in his tournament stock or tournament life in this set.
Oh,
he's got to be careful.
Oh, the double dare? He might
the double dare doesn't even need a third one. He's got him.
Come on, Simple. You got to know the rules. Rule number 1 is Scythe, don't go high. Rule number 2 is Scythe, don't go low. You got to know.
Rule number 3, don't go.
Yeah, just don't
stay
go.
home. Just stay home.
He didn't really have, it feels like he doesn't have too much of an answer for Knees' Scythe so far. Of course, hitting the downlight recovery. The classic. Not quite killing though, which is surprising considering it's Brawlhaven. Knees is finding
not even going for the weapon pickup.
Just always downlight recovery. Always.
He's more than happy to just straight up use the unarmed kit right in that situation. And you know, with the way that it was working out, I can't really fault him. It was really successful in that situation. Now picking up the site, he's going to have a little bit more success, I think, in controlling the space on the map around
wait, I've
Simple
never seen that.
And the turnaround. That was a very nice option. I don't think that was true, but I think that Simple definitely wasn't. I mean, I don't know. I haven't played Artemis. Ooh, taking him off the top, very close, and the weapon throw connection there. I mean,
Simple
the little
just
bit.
Went for a double
gosh.
downlight like it's 2017/2016. I don't remember what year it was, but that hasn't been a thing in the game since a very long time. Simple
I never remember what year it is, so honestly, it could be 2016, 2017 still. Who knows? No, I'm just kidding. Knees with the scythe, though, getting a lot more damage onto Simple, pushing him off stage, trying to get that push-off column coverage with the down sig. But Simple with the turnaround as he gets back on stage is going to be a little bit of a haymaker here, finding the KO as well and taking that advantage back in favor of himself. That's Simple now holding on to the lead, like a real verifiable lead for the first time this entire set, even though he won the first game. Oh, very fast Lance ground pound coming out to find that KO as well off stage, and that is going to even up the stocks just a little bit. That is the perfect situation for Knees to find that in as well, so that he is not having to deal with Simple's last stock with too much damage built up. So he's got to be very careful still.
Ooh, Knees almost caught the dodge there from Simple. I mean, he did get to the dodge and got some damage, but he almost caught it with the downlight. Right now, the
tries it
damage is
again.
looking super even. Simple gets to grab this weapon for himself. He has his tried and true sword back. Nice side air. Trying to. Oh, if that
he's
was a
exhausted,
side air,
though.
that actually could have been the game. But maybe a misinput from Simple. Maybe just thinking that the Nair would be the move for him there. But Knees gets a second chance at his life, at his tournament life.
This is the precarious situation that Knees has to deal with. He has to balance that aggression. Those move selections. He's caught without a weapon off stage. Ground pound can. Oh, the turnaround ground pound. Simple went too far off stage and was able to. Oh my gosh, he just got caught by that in the most perfect situation. I mean, if Simple wasn't exactly in that position, Knees wouldn't have connected that ground pound. He would have extended himself too far down below the stage, and that would have been Simple winning the game, hands down, no question. But Knees being able to find that right there in that exact position,
yeah, that
allowed
was
him to win
perfect.
that.
You even saw in the replay the recovery or the starting frames of Simple's recovery were already like there. You literally
Yes.
saw the animation going off, and he picked him right out of it. Given, I think that the dash into neutral light was the mistake that kind of damned Simple from the beginning. I think he maybe got a little impatient there on the edge and went for an option that I personally have never seen before, and it got punished by Knees. So that means that Knees, he was actually behind going into the final stock. Simple was the one to take the second stock before Knees, and the way that this set has been flowing has been that the person who's in the lead going into the final stock just loses the game. So I wonder if both of them are just going to try to hard sandbag until final stock this time.
I mean, maybe it's a possibility, but in all honesty, I'm still kind of stuck. I'm still surprised that Knees went for that option of all things, because in any other situation where anyone goes for an edge guard option that was not just completely out of left field like Simple did.
Here
Oh
comes
my gosh,
Side
Knees!
stuff,
Knees!
side stuff.
What are you doing? Oh my gosh! And gets the recovery on the back end, tries to find another one, gets the
One more
weapon
hit.
throw, doesn't find the third one, and that is going to be the end of the humongous starter string from Knees to get this game going. And then into the neutral
finger
stick
point.
as well. Still not enough to find the KO. Simple making his way back to the stage, trying to get unarmed play because he doesn't have a weapon, and he's going to have to make his way to the center of that platform to find something here, a sword or a hammer. Hammer is going to be what he has to use in that kind of heavy hitting attacks. This is going to allow him to make his way slowly back into it,
Simple
just
ducked
based
his
off the
head.
fact that he is not dead yet. But the fact that Knees wasn't able to find that KO, oh no, and he goes so deep and is not able to find it. With how that started, that is really unfortunate to see.
The reason that Simple got that stock was because Knees was attempting to rip Simple's soul out of his body with the Grim Reaper Death Scythe down stage, and Simple just ducked his head and said, nah, it's not my time to go yet. And then he ended up taking that stock, and that is netting him so much mileage right now, because he already has Knees into the late yellow into early orange on his second stock. Knees, that's not going to kill this patch. Not anymore. Knees looks for the down stick again, and right now it just feels like it's starting to slip out of Knees' hands.
Simple's kind of turned on ever since the beginning of the match. This game 3, he got instantly picked up by the scythe combo, and just taken coast to coast around the map and almost gimped off the bottom like within the first 10 seconds. But now, since that moment, we've seen like kind of a Simple that we were used to seeing back in some of the previous tournaments, where he's just been incredibly dominant. And I don't know why we haven't seen more of this play from Simple so far. Maybe he was playing more like this in the beginning of the tournament, but either way, this is a little bit more familiar from what we've been used to seeing from Simple, especially in this situation. And Knees having a difficult time continuing to deal the same kind of damage that he did to start things off is a bit troubling, to say the least.
And the amount of mental fortitude that Knees is going to have if he wants to take this match is insane.
He's already on his final stock.
Yeah.
And he just 10 seconds ago took the first stock off of Simple.
It actually took him about 2.5 minutes to take a single stock off Simple. And if that's not tilting, if that's not the type of thing that makes you just want to run off the stage and end your tournament life, I don't know what is. But Knees is a stronger player than that. He wants to keep fighting against Simple. Even as Simple is juggling him with these nairs, he's still got the scythe and the side light. Ooh, nice down air.
He's doing some good stuff right now with the next scythe play. I don't think we're going to see too much from the blasters overall. He's definitely going to favor the scythe in this situation, especially with how successful the Bees continue to be. And there he goes. He's brought it back. He's still in the. He's like one hit under the red, and this is the most dangerous position he can be in, especially against the Bodvar pick, where you have to worry about the versatility and the continuous hits that Sword can bring to the table, as well as some of the higher hitting stuff from Hammer. Like as soon as Simple throws his sword away or gets it knocked out of his hand, and then he has that hammer in his hand. That is a position right off the top. He doesn't even need the hammer.
Yeah.
Simple finding that KO and doing such an amazing job at bringing that back in game number 3, right when it all mattered. Simple taking it down, being the last qualifier into the top 8 for tomorrow. And that is going to do it for today's side of the tournament. This is the top 32, and the pools all finished out for today in the Super Summer Slam. And looking at tomorrow's top 8, starting from the top, going all the way to the bottom. This is the winners bracket starting. Machette and Addy in the first game. Tito and Heissen in game number 2. Blue versus Simple in the bottom. And then at the bottom bracket, 2D versus Machette. Blue versus Simple.
That is spicy.
I think is going to be. That is normally, I think,
match.
what you usually see in a top 3 match.
Yeah, that's a top 3 match, and their teammates.
Exactly.
So, as well as, I mean, the winners bracket matches are actually just going to be insane. Like, all 4 of the players who are in the winners bracket faced pretty little resistance in their way getting to the winners bracket. So when they actually, like, when 2 unstoppable forces actually meet each other, we're going to get some crazy matches. But as you said, that's all we got for today.
I don't know. I mean, before we end, of course, I have to make a comment on what you said, because you said when 2 unstoppable forces meet each other, and you're talking about Blue and Simple, but they're both in the lower bracket, which means they've both been stopped already at least once in this tournament. So who are the unstoppable forces? I would actually argue that it's probably Addy and Tito right now, because of how unbelievably dominant they've been. And I think, now I don't want to make any like early predictions, because I really like how Machette has played, and Heissen also has been just completely on point this tournament. But looking at Tito and Addy moving in, I think that's probably what we're going to be getting in the winners finals, if today is any indicator. And it, especially in EU, it definitely isn't. It definitely is not an indicator. Like, I can't stress how much EU is very inconsistent with their placings. Literally anything can happen. Like, anything can happen. But if today is an indicator, then I think that's what we're going to see tomorrow. And I think those are going to be the forces that are going to make the biggest presence in the top 8 tomorrow. So we'll see. But I just had to make a comment on that.
Well, I think that's all we got for today. Thank you, everyone, for popping in. We highly recommend watching tomorrow, as the matches are going to be just as good, if not higher quality, as today.
I don't recommend it. I require it. Anyway, be here tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow. Like you said, I'll see you there.